What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another amazing Naruto story. What if Naruto joins fairy tale Konoha bashing? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description box to original creator of this beautiful creation. The whole guild of fairy tale watched in horror as Jose Parla laughed. Phantom Lord had just launched 2 assaults on their guild in an attempt to capture one of their guild members, Lucy Hearfilia, and to take out their competition for the strongest guild in Fury. With their guild crumbling around them along with their comrades, they could do nothing but watch on as Phantom Lord moves on to destroy them and their guild. Gia ha 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 ha. Makarov and even Urza the Titania has been incapacitated. What will you do now, fairies? He laughed maniacally. Urza glared at him as he laughed. Now that you have lost, hand Lucy Heartfilia now. He sneered. Never. Natsu yelled. We would never sell out a comrade. Macau roared. The others nodded in grim determination to defend their comrade until the end. Everyone, Lucy thought tearfully. Suddenly a bright flash appeared in the guild room. A rough, gravelly voice was heard as everyone looked to see the newcomer. Oi, I leave for a mission for a week and the second I come back, this is what I see. Everyone looked at the source of the voice and Lucy found herself looking at a teenager no older than she was. He had blonde, spiky hair and sky-blue eyes that seemed to light up the guild, and he was undeniably handsome. He had whisker tattoos on his face, but the strangest thing that was on him was his keys on his belt. He's a celestial spirit mage too. Lucy thought in shock. I've barely seen any throughout my entire life. Suddenly the fairy tale guild erupted in roars of happiness as the blonde man jumped down the balcony to face the Jose. Naruto is here. We're saved. Wakaba yelled in joy. Naruto, thank God you are here. Urza said in relief. Who is this Naruto guy? He seems like a big deal around here. Lucy asked. He's one of the most strongest mage in fairy tale. Mirajane said happily. His name is Naruto Uzumaki, and not only is he a celestial spirit mage, but he's something else. But now that he's here, Phantom Lord won't stand a chance. Suddenly laughter rebounded across the room. Ahahaha. 1 fairy, 2 fairies. It won't matter at all as I destroy your guild. Suddenly Naruto growled. Listen here you little shit. No one, and I mean no one, destroys our guild. And if they do. Suddenly he spun a key into his hand which had the Roman numeral for 1. Jose laughed. Go on. I doubt you could even touch me. Naruto bit his finger and wiped the blood across the key. Suddenly a poof of smoke appeared and a human-sized tanuki made of sand appeared next to Naruto. Shukaku, take that scumbag out. Naruto said to the sand demon. Ha, a bunny rabbit? You are going to take me down with a bunny rabbit? Jose laughed. Suddenly Shukaku growled. A bunny rabbit? You think I am a bunny rabbit? I am a raccoon. He screamed. Suddenly his size grew to the size of the guild room as he crashed out of the wall to attack Jose. Everyone's sweat dropped as the sand demon started to attack Jose. Sand tsunami. Suddenly sand started to come from the ground and buried Jose. Shukaku, do not kill him. Just incapacitate him. Naruto yelled at the tanuki. Shukaku frowned but did what his master told him to. Fairy Tail cheered as they saw the members of Phantom Lord retreat along with Jose, who was dragging his body on the ground with his 2 broken legs. Alright Shukaku, work is done. Good job, Naruto said to his companion. It's been a pleasure, Shukaku said before disappearing along with all the sand. Alright Fairy Tail, I have an idea. This idea is very simple. All you have to do is beat the shit out of the other Phantom Lord members. What'd you say? Naruto yelled. Don't hog the fun for yourself. Natsu yelled. Yeah, I wouldn't be a man if I didn't go. Elfman said. Don't start the party without me, Gray said. With that the guild of fairies descended upon the phantoms and, well, they beat the shit out of them. Naruto was at the bar eating his 17th bowl of ramen before Urza introduced him to someone. He was wearing his regular battle outfit, basically the entire Anbu outfit, a red scarf, a white fox mask on his belt, and a black headband with a metal plate that had the fairy tale insignia on it. Hey Naruto, I want you to meet someone, Urza said before shoving Lucy in front of her. Lucy squeaked and waved before running away. Geez, what's her problem? Naruto asked. It might have been your celestial spirits and your power, Urza replied before sitting next to him. They were both best friends ever since they were young and met each other in the Tower of Heaven. Flashback. Urza stirred from her sleep as she heard shouting coming from outside of her prison cell. They must be bringing in a new prisoner, she thought bitterly. Get in, demon scum, one of the jailers yelled as he kicked a boy into the jail. The boy had sun-blonde hair and blue eyes that seemed to light the cell. He had 3 whisker tattoos on his cheeks and looked to be about the same age as Urza. Urza watched in sympathy as the small boy looked around frantically as he scrambled to try and get out, but it was too late. The doors were already locked and the guards were not coming back unless they had to push the prisoners out to work. Where am I? The boy asked. His voice sounded so fragile and sad that Urza wanted to comfort him. Rob started to explain the situation to him and introduce him to the others. He was taking this better than she thought he would. Finally, it was her turn to introduce herself. Hi, my name is Urza, she said, staring at him. He looked at her before looking away, blushing. Hi, I'm Naruto. Flashback end. Man, I'm gonna get along so well with the newbies, Naruto said, sarcasm evident in his voice. Urza laughed. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Naruto grunted in response before finishing his 37th bowl of ramen. Suddenly a voice screamed in his ear. Naruto, I challenge you. No celestial spirits. Natsu yelled. Naruto grew a tick mark before punching him in the face, instantly knocking him out. Yeah, because that's gonna happen while I'm eating my ramen, Naruto muttered. To say Lucy was surprised would be an understatement. She was. Well, a lot more than surprised. It was not every day you would see a celestial spirit mage beat a dragon slayer so easily. The rest of the guild started to laugh. If Natsu even fought Naruto, he would get destroyed easily. Naruto is on a completely different level. She heard one say. Yeah, Naruto is as strong as Guildarts, maybe even Master. Another agreed. He's as strong as Master? How is that possible? He's as young as us. Lucy thought. Suddenly Natsu woke up and was immediately on his feet. Oi, old man, I challenge you. No sele. Natsu was immediately cut off after Naruto grew another tick mark and slammed his fist into Natsu's head. I'm not old. Naruto yelled at the unconscious dragon slayer. Besides, I'm eating my ramen. The rest of the guild roared in laughter while Lucy's sweat dropped at their antics. Naruto walked home with his mask on as the people of Magnolia waved at him, some staring at him in admiration and some in awe. He was well known in all of Fury as Fire Shadow, or Hokage, a name that he made for himself. He never took off his mask in public though, because he was afraid. Yes, the great Fire Shadow was afraid. Flashback. Naruto ran through the alleyways, hoping that he got away from the mob that was chasing him. His parents, the 4th Hokage and the red-hot habanero, didn't care for him. Instead, they ignored him for his siblings, Mito and Taisuke. He fell and scraped his knee, but he ignored the pain so he could get home. This was the last day he decided to stay in this hellhole. He would leave at midnight when no one is awake. Dear ex-family, I had enough of your ignorance. Why do you ignore me and leave me to die? It doesn't matter anyway, because I am leaving. This was what you wanted, isn't that right? Anyway, I hope you have a great time without me. From Naruto. Naruto finished his letter before packing his things and running out the front gate. He was nearly out of the land of fire before he fell from fatigue and exhaustion. Suddenly someone crouched in front of him. Hey kid, what are you doing here? Where are your parents? Naruto looked up to see a man with a strange metal headband, red marks on his face, and long white hair. My parents don't care for me, he replied briefly. The man looked at him thoughtfully before smiling. Then why don't I become your parent? He asked before standing up and motioned for him to follow. Naruto smiled and happily ran to his side. Mister, where are we going? To a place where you will be happy. Jiraiya understood his situation and agreed to never tell his parents his location. Why wouldn't he? After hearing the kid's story, his hate for Minato suddenly erupted. How could he leave a kid like this to die? Hey brat, starting from tomorrow I will train you in the arts of the ninja. Once you are done I will have to send you on your way, Jiraiya said. Naruto nodded as he watched his new foster parent. He was his new hero. Little did he know that his hero would soon be taken away along with his freedom. Time skip. 1 year. So you would go so far that you would hurt your own sensei, huh? Jiraiya growled through gritted teeth. Pervy sage. Naruto yelled running out of Mount Myoboku. Get out of here Naruto. This isn't safe, Jiraiya yelled. Naruto looked around and his eyes widened in fear. There standing in front of his father was the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. Suddenly, while Jiraiya was distracted, Minato blurred behind him and stabbed him, killing him. Now Naruto, why don't you come with me? Minato asked. Anger and sadness washed across his body. Hate was all his mind was about. Suddenly a key appeared in his hand and he instinctively bit his hand and wiped the blood across it. A roar was heard and suddenly smoke appeared from the key. You shall pay for hurting my friend. A deep and demonic voice yelled. There in all its glory was the Kyuubi. Yes, the demon who was said to create earthquakes just by breathing. The one who created tsunamis by walking. The one who is about to Shrek the fourth Hokage. Yes, Shrek is love and Shrek is life. Don't anger Shrek or you will get raped from behind. The demon fox gathered up chakra and sent it flying towards Minato. Don't stand there, kid. Run, I'll take care of this. The fox yelled. Naruto was confused. Why was the Kyuubi calling him his friend? Why was he fighting for him? He ran but not for long. Exhaustion and fatigue hit him instantly. He groaned and fell to the ground as darkness took over. Flashback over. Naruto would never forget that memory, the first time he found out about his power, but this power came at a price. The price of his sensei, the one who took care of him and protected him to the end. The Kyuubi, a supposed evil demon, was sealed into him, which was the reason why everyone hated him in the village. The Kyuubi, whose real name was Kurama, felt pity for him and wanted to help Naruto. After he was knocked out by the fatigue, the mages from the Tower of Heaven found him and took him. That was when he met Urza. He walked to the forest nearby Magnolia where he slept. He usually slept in the trees, maybe because of Matabi's influence over him. There was one particular tree that he liked. It was a strange tree that was red and orange, Naruto's favorite color. He had no doubt that it was created with magic or some other strange method, as the other trees near him were green and did not have the same color as that particular tree. He jumped onto a branch of the tree and lay down on it. Suddenly a poof of smoke appeared and a small fox with 9 tails appeared, curled up on his lap. Naruto opened an eye before smiling and closing his eyes to sleep. Suddenly 8 more puffs of smoke appeared on him and he groaned in protest as the demons all slept on him. Damn it, he muttered, before smiling and pulling them all closer. Naruto woke up as the many-tailed beasts opened their eyes. Naruto sighed. Are you gonna stay here all day or are you gonna leave? He asked. We're staying on you, Chome, the 7 tails said. Naruto sighed again before jumping down with 8 of the beasts on his shoulders and the 9th on his head. He walked to the guild where Natsu and Gray were fighting as usual. Shut up, Ice Princess, or I'll cook you. Be quiet, Flame Brain, or I'll turn you into a popsicle. You wanna go? Just go to Tokyo, Naruto interrupted. That didn't make any sense, Gray said, confused. Says the guy who takes his clothes off for no reason, Naruto muttered. Hey, shut up, Foxy. I'm not Foxy, you stupid snowman. Go talk to Frosty instead of me. You wanna go? Fine, I'll Shrek you easily. Stop using that Shrek thing all the time. Never. I wanna fight too. Stay out of this, Flame Brain. Lucy sighed in hopelessness as Naruto proceeded to beat the crap out of the 2 mages. Suddenly someone spoke. Ah, so you finally brought all your friends with you, Makarov said. Lucy looked closer and saw the tailed beasts perched on Naruto's shoulders while the 9th one on his head. Kawaii, Urza squealed as she ran to pick up the 9 tails. Why is it always Kurama and not us? Yuki grumbled. Maybe it's because you're calamari? Shukaku suggested. Shut up, Sandy. Be quiet, calamari. You wanna go? Let's go. On that day, 2 demons were unleashed. Makarov Dreyar died that day from all the work from the reports that he had to do. RIP. Makarov Dreyar died from paperwork only to be revived again. Don't mess with the paperwork. Naruto looked at the request board before picking out a sheet. Protect a leaf team while they escort a bridge builder. I am gonna make the Sasuke, Sakura, and the other special member younger than Naruto. Reward. 400,000 jewels. He stared at the paper and started to rip it up, but before he could, someone stopped him. Master? He asked, confused. You stupid brat. Go on the mission and do whatever you had to do, Makarov said, smiling. Naruto nodded and picked up his bags before motioning for his spirits to come. Oi, Kurama. We're going back home. Hello. Fire Shadow was it? Funny because over here I'm also called Fire Shadow, Minato laughed. Naruto could barely restrain himself from strangling the blonde man. Yeah, must be a coincidence, he forced out a laugh. Suddenly someone burst through the doors sobbing, Dad, we still haven't found traces of him. The girl had yellow hair and Naruto recognized her as Mito, one of his siblings. Don't worry. We'll find him, Minato said reassuringly. To Naruto's surprise he saw a tear slip out of the corner of his eye. Who's this? Another girl walked in, looking at the blonde teenager with disgust. She was smaller than the rest and Naruto hasn't recognized her from any of his memories. She must be another spawn of that cursed Hokage that he made when you left, Kurama growled mentally. This is someone who is also going on your mission, Minato said to her. Peesh, I don't need him. She said arrogantly. Do not talk as if you are the strongest. There is always someone stronger and I am currently one of them, Naruto said. She glared at him. What did you say? Nami, do not talk to a guest like that, Minato said. Naruto was surprised to see his own father, ex-father, who treated him like trash, stand up for him like that was something that he didn't get to see every day. But then again, Minato didn't really know who he was. Get ready, Fire Shadow. You leave in 10 minutes. Naruto stood there with his mask on, as stoic as ever. Nami nudged her teammate Sasuke. Hey, what's up with that guy? Isn't he weird? Maybe if you've gone through the things I have, you would act like this. Let me remind you, I am your superior as of now. Do not act on any form of disrespect, Naruto said. PSH, as if you can do anything. You're just some nobody who can't even hurt a flea. Suddenly, a huge amount of ki washed over them. Do not disrespect your superior. If you continue to do so, you may end up in the hospital or worse, Naruto said calmly before turning away to look somewhere else. Sasuke stared at the strange boy who was only a few years older than he was. How was this man so strong yet so young? Sasuke looked away from him. He was stronger than him anyway. He was an Uchiha, the strongest of all. He never knew how wrong he was until the fight. Team 7, Naruto and Tazuna were walking on the dirt road. Naruto was looking up at the sky, probably looking at the rider who was, well, me. Hi there, Naruto, I said cheerfully, waving at him. He stared before shaking his head and muttering, Kami has a weird sense of humor. Anyway, back to the story. That was made by me, not actually. I just make the plot. The characters belong to Hiro Mishima and Masashi Kishimoto. Oi, Kakashi, Naruto whispered while looking at a puddle. He nodded and kept walking. Dumbasses. Not even the writer would be that dumb to put a puddle in the middle of a sunny day if he was a shinobi, Naruto muttered. Hey, I protested, anime characters aren't supposed to break the fourth wall. Please, train me and take me as your apprentice. Sasuke the great Uchiha said, bowing to the older, blonde man in front of him. How did this happen again? Well, let's go back. Hey guys, I'm gonna go take a leak, be right back. Naruto yelled, smirking. He walked to the puddle and zipped down his pants. A few moments later 2 screams were heard throughout the forest. UDCK. Yes, I do have one, but I'm not sure if you two do. Kakashi was at the brink of laughter after that remark while Sasuke stood there emotionless. Haha, get it? No? Okay. They charged at the blonde teenager only to be immediately knocked out after Naruto had blurred behind them. What the hell is on their hands? Are those some kinda Terminator shit? If it is, then I know that we are all fucked, Naruto said, staring at the metal gauntlets adorning the unconscious rogues. Somewhere in. Well, wherever he is. The Terminator sneezed suddenly. That is strange. I do not usually get this thing that has happened to me, he said. Focus on shooting the other Terminators, will ya? John Connor screamed as bullets landed next to his head. Back to Naruto. You wanna come out now? No? Come on, I have cookies. Naruto yelled. Team 7 nearly slammed their faces into their hands as Naruto continued to try and get this Zabuza guy out of the trees. You see, Zabuza was scared shitless and won't come out of the tree. Oh wait, I forgot that you guys weren't here when it happened. Guess I'll have to use my flashback no jutsu. Dun da doin'. Flashback no jutsu. Naruto nudged Kakashi again as they were walking. You sense that? Naruto whispered. Kakashi nodded before yelling, get down everyone. A huge sword slammed into the tree trunk as everyone laid on the ground. There in all his glory was Zabuza Momochi standing backwards. "Oi, Mr. Sword Guy, you're not facing us," Naruto yelled at him. Zabuza's face paled as if he saw a ghost and scrambled up the tree, forgetting his precious sword. "Come down here and I won't beat you up." I said, "Come down. Come on, we have cookies in the Naruto side. You don't want cookies? Why, you're the great Fire Shadow-sama. The one on the bingo book with 7 million Ryo? Forgive me, now you start talking?" Naruto yelled as Team 7 stared at him in shock. End flashback. No jutsu. Please. Spare me, Zabuza pleaded. Suddenly a teenager with an Anbu mask dropped down and kneeled before Naruto. "Please, let my master go. If you want to kill him, please take me instead," he said. "You guys are idiots. I have cookies. What more do you want?" Team 7 facepalmed even more. Who knew that a 7 million bounty nin can be so childish? "Please, spare my master. I don't care about killing him now. I just want to fight him. Please spare him. USUNUVA bye." Kakashi covered Naruto's mouth before dragging him from the tree. Zabuza memo. This time it was Kakashi who got dragged away. "Zabuza, if you don't come down, I really will kill you," Naruto said, eerily calm. Zabuza scrambled down, forgetting his sword again, and kneeled in front of Naruto. Sir. I will do anything you ask. Please spare me. I want to fight. I heard you were a good fighter, so I want to test my strength. And then after that, we will go to my guild and you will join it." Zabuza nodded despite the fact that he did not know anything about guilds or what he was talking about. "Okay, let's fight here. Fight me with all you got and don't hesitate to kill me." Zabuza shakily nodded before picking his sword up. "Begin." Naruto blurred behind him and slammed a fist into Zabuza's head. "It always works." Naruto chuckled. They arrived at Tazuna's house, and what was Naruto doing right now? He was getting his beauty sleep. How is he so powerful? He defeated 3 ninjas so quickly and he has a 7 million bounty on his head. That's higher than Itachi's, Sasuke thought as he tried running up the tree. Naruto sighed as he woke up. He shunshined outside where he heard sounds of commotion. There he found the 3 brats trying to run up a tree. He started to laugh. "Ahahaha. Look at them. It's literally the easiest thing in ninja history and they are having the hardest time at doing it." "Ahaha." Nami glared at him. "Then why don't you do it?" Naruto smirked before running up a tree easily. "Ta-da," he said leisurely before kicking it over, smashing it to pieces. He turned away to go back to the house until he heard a voice stopping him in his tracks. "Please, train me and take me as your apprentice." Naruto stopped abruptly before smiling under his mask. "I have to warn you, it's gonna be hard." "I don't care. Please, take me as your student." Naruto chuckled. "Okay. It will be hard, but if you want to do this so badly then you can. Meet me out here at 12 o'clock midnight, he said before vanishing into thin air. Sasuke walked to the forest where he found Naruto standing there. "Good, you stayed awake," Naruto said. "Now, let our training begin." Sakura and Nami stared at the 2 boys who were sparring. The 2 girls were tired and they had no idea how those 2 boys could stay awake. Suddenly Sasuke was on the ground with a kunai on his throat. "You're better than most at taijutsu. Now show me all your ninjutsu and genjutsu if you have any." Soon the forest was lit with fire that was soon put out by Naruto. "You are very good at fire jutsus." "Good," Naruto praised. Sasuke felt happy that someone like him had praised him. It's not every day that a very powerful shinobi praises you like that. "Now, before we can go on to the next jutsus, I need you to learn the shadow clone jutsu," Naruto said. "Why do I need to learn that?" "Because, if we work on something with the shadow clones, those memories will pass on to yours, which will make training a lot more faster." Sasuke nodded, understanding his logic. "Now, look at this scroll and learn it from here. Once you are done, I will teach you personally," Naruto said, tossing a scroll. He caught it and looked at it before getting to work. What's the point of asking him for training when he's not gonna teach him personally? Nami hissed. Sakura shrugged. "I don't know. As long as Sasuke gets what he wants, then I'm fine. I'm going to sleep now. See you in the morning." Nami watched Sasuke train before walking off to her room. Boom. "What the hell?" Nami asked as she jumped out of bed. "Rasengan. Sasuke yelled as he slammed the blue ball into a boulder, completely smashing it to pieces. What's going on? Kakashi asked, concerned as he ran outside to check out what had happened. Nothing, Kakashi. Well, everything. I just found out that your student here is a prodigy. I mean, he finished the first 2 steps of the Rasengan in one night. Naruto said, waving his hands excitedly. Kakashi's eye widened. How does Naruto know the Rasengan? He thought, the Rasengan? What a stupid name. Nami scoffed. It's the one made by your father, idiot, Naruto said. What's up with your attitude, by the way? Shut it, Nami muttered. I think she's on her period, Naruto muttered to Sasuke, who smirked. Unfortunately for them, Nami heard them. What the hell did you say? Nami screamed as she punched both Naruto and Sasuke into the sky. Naruto, Team 7, Zabuza, and Haku were at the bridge, watching the construction of the bridge. Suddenly someone laughed. So Zabuza, I see you bailed out on the contract. It didn't matter anyways. I was just gonna kill you later. Gato said. Suddenly 100 mercenaries appeared behind him and smirked at them. Get them, Gato yelled. Guys, stay back, Naruto said before walking up and forming some hand signs. Fire style, Heaven's Angels. Fire shot out of his mouth and formed what looked like an army of fire angels charging at the mercenaries. Lightning style, Twin Lighting Fang. Lightning could be seen flashing everywhere around the enemy, electrocuting them or burning them along with the fire jutsu. Finally, Wind style, Wind Spear. A spear made of wind that seemed to glow appeared in Naruto's hand. With a yell he threw it and it embedded itself onto Gato's head, killing him instantly. The genin stared at Naruto amazed. Never in their life had they seen such a powerful shinobi defeat 100 rogue shinobi so easily. Man, I never had to use that much jutsus in a long time. Naruto said happily. Team 7 sweat dropped. Why would he be happy about it? They all thought. Suddenly a large wave of energy washed over them, but they didn't know what it was. Only Naruto knew what it was. Magic. Naruto looked up in shock. How could he have not noticed before? This area. This place. This bridge was right next to the Tower of Heaven. Stay here, Naruto commanded before lifting his leg sleeve up to reveal some weights. He took them off and dropped them into the sea, creating a huge wave as big as Gamabunta. He jumped down and started to run on water. To others it looked like he vanished, but Kakashi knew exactly what had happened and so did Sasuke due to them having the Sharingan. Naruto appeared on the top of the tower where he had sensed all the magical pressure. Ahahaha, ahahaha, Zeref shall be revived and no one can stop me now. A blue-haired man said, standing over Urza with her sword in his hand, pointing downwards at her chest. Natsu ran towards him but fell onto the ground helplessly. He was completely out of magical energy. Suddenly Naruto recognized the blue-haired man. He was Jelal, one of his old friend from the Tower of Heaven. He was corrupted by an evil god named Zeref and continued building the tower to revive the god. Suddenly anger bubbled up. How dare he try to kill his friends? How dare he try to kill Urza? Get away from my Urza! He screamed. He appeared right in front of Jelal and slammed his fist into his face. Tailed beast style, planetary Rasengan. He yelled as a fire-red Rasengan formed in his hand with more mini Rasengan around the main one. He slammed it into Jalal's stomach, sending him flying into the Etherion wall. That wasn't the end though. He quickly formed more hand signs. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Suddenly hundreds of clones appeared as they formed Rasengans in their hands. Rasengan, they yelled as they slammed the deadly jutsus into Jelal and the tower. The magic crystals broke and suddenly the tower was no more. Urza found herself on the beach with Natsu next to her. She looked around in confusion before hearing a voice out of nowhere. You've become strong. It was Jelal who had spoken. Impossible. Urza breathed in shock. She then smiled and looked up at the sky. Hey, tomato! A loud voice yelled. Naruto ran across the beach where he found the beautiful red-haired woman on the shore. Hey blonde, she said, before smirking. I heard that, my Urza, part in the fight. What did you mean by that? She smiled innocently while Naruto fumbled for an excuse. It's okay, she laughed, we all know you like me. Naruto turned red at her teasing before turning away abruptly. I'll be somewhere else at the moment. Bye. She watched as he vanished. For some reason her face felt warm and butterflies were fluttering in her stomach. Naruto stood on the branch of the tree as Kakashi explained the details of the Chunin exams to his genin. All he knew was that it was somewhat similar to the S-rank test. Once he was done, Naruto jumped down as Kakashi shunshined away. He walked over to Sasuke and tapped his shoulder. "Sasuke, walk with me," Naruto said. Sasuke followed him, wondering what the older teen wanted from him. "Look, some days I won't be there to train you. The only way that I can train you nearly every day is that you leave Konoha with me. You don't have to, of course. I see that you have tons of people that want to be with you, so it would be natural if you didn't want to come with me," Naruto said. "I will go with you," Sasuke replied. "Fine then, but every few months or weeks we will come back to Konoha to go visit your friends. I believe that friends and bonds with them are the things that make you strong," Naruto said. Sasuke nodded. As long as he can avenge the Uchiha clan, then it was good enough for him. Naruto would be the key to his revenge. Let go of him. Naruto's ears pricked as he and Sasuke looked over to the source of the voice. "You hear that?" Sasuke asked. Naruto nodded and started to run towards the sounds with Sasuke close behind. Konohamaru was doing nothing, but playing with Namine and his friends until he bumped into a guy dressed in black. Man, was he intimidating. The guy in black lifted him up and growled, "Hey punk." That hurt. The girl behind him looked worried before saying, "Hey Kankuro. He's not here now." Kankuro interrupted. "Hey, let go of him." A voice sounded. It was rough and gravelly, but at the same time, it was warm and comforting. "Just like the sun. And why should I do that?" Kankuro said. Suddenly Konohamaru was dropped as the guy in black was kicked away. He looked at his savior. He had sapphire eyes and a mask that only left his eyes open. He had golden sun hair and had an outfit somewhat similar to the Anbu outfit. He looked back to see the guy in black in a crater in the ground. Wow, he whispered as he looked back at the person who had saved him. To his surprise, the only thing he saw were leaves floating to the ground. "Sasuke, be prepared for the next exams. Use what I have taught you so far. When the final exams come, rip this leaf," Naruto said before giving him an orange leaf. "Okay, but how do you know if there are final exams?" Sasuke asked. When he got no response he looked up, but found nothing but air. Naruto slammed the doors open where he found the guild members fighting as usual. "Hey guys, I brought some newbies," Naruto yelled cheerfully as he pushed Zabuza and Haku forward. "Their names are Zabuza and Haku." "Hi Zabuza and Haku," everyone said, pausing to look at them before fighting each other again. Zabuza and Haku sweat dropped before following Naruto to get their tattoos on. "Fight me, old man," Natsu screamed in his ear. Suddenly a wave of magic overcame the guild as people started dropping down, one by one, sleeping on the ground. "What's happening?" Lucy asked before falling onto the floor. Naruto, however, was not affected and only viewed the magic as an annoyance. A man walked into the guild. He had blue hair, a red tattoo on his eye, and a mask obscuring the rest of his face. He wore tattered, gray robes and had staffs and weapons on his back that had lacrimas stored in them. All in all, he looked like a magical hobo and his name was Mistogen. "Geez Misto, why you do this?" he asked, poking Mistogen's shoulder. "Really Naruto, can you stop with the poking thing every time I come?" Mistogen said, obviously irritated by the childish behavior that the S-rank mage displayed. "Nope," Naruto said happily. Mistogen walked up to the request board before shoving Naruto away in annoyance. He took his mission before walking out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. "We have some newbies here," Urza said. Naruto looked up from his ramen in confusion. "Who are they?" Naruto asked. Urza pointed at two people, one of them was blue. Like everything, blue. The other person was. "Isn't he from that Phantom Guild?" Naruto asked, narrowing his eyes at the Metal Dragon Slayer. "Yeah, I don't trust him either," Urza said, looking over at the black-haired man before grimacing and looking back at Naruto, which she realized she did much of the time. "Urza, you okay?" Naruto asked. She blushed, realizing the distance between the two before yelling, "I'm okay," and running off. What was this feeling that she felt? It was strange. Naruto sat on the tree where he saw Laxus walk up to Gajeel along with Jet and Droy, to start to beat him up. "Laxus!" he roared. Droids and Jet's head whipped up to the blonde man before running off with Levi behind them. "Oh, it's Mr. I'm the best mage in the guild. What do you want?" Laxus spat. "Leave Gajeel alone. Just give him a chance," Naruto said. "It's people like you that takes Fairy Tail's reputation down," Laxus muttered, glaring at him before walking off. He's been acting really weird lately. Hey Gajeel, wanna go eat some ramen?" Naruto said to the Dragon Slayer. "Ramen?" Gajeel asked. He never knew much of the food here as he only ate the healthy things. Naruto gasped. "How do you not know what ramen is? Now I know why people think you're strange. Come on," he yelled, dragging poor Gajeel along the floor just to show him what ramen was. Note to self: never ever eat ramen with ramen addicts. Gajeel mentally screamed as Naruto watched his every bite of the noodles. Gajeel hated them. What's there to like? It's salty as hell and it doesn't even taste good. Although he wanted to say that to Naruto, he didn't want to get beat up like Natsu or Gray, so instead he pretended to like it. Oh man, it's good," Gajeel said, faking happiness. "I'm glad that there's another ramen lover here. Man, if I knew that you loved ramen this much, I would have ran to you the second I saw you. We could be ramen buddies and..." Gajeel stared at him, his soul slowly flying away. Was this how he was going to die? By a blonde, ramen addict on crack? "Hey ramen buddy, don't leave me," Naruto yelled as he pushed Gajeel's soul back into his body. Gajeel stared at him in shock before slamming his face into the bowl of ramen, knocked out. "No, ramen buddy," Naruto yelled, looking up at the sky with his hands stretched out. Drama queen, everyone's sweat dropped. It was the day of the Miss Fairy Tail competition, and everyone was there. Well, everyone except for a certain blonde-haired boy. He was still walking to the guild hall, taking his time. A boy bumped into him and looked up at him fearfully, expecting him to lash out at him. He was the great Fire Shadow, after all, and he's rumored to be on par with the greatest wizard saints ever. Instead, the towering, blonde man kneeled down and patted his head. "Don't think I am going to hurt you. I would never do something like that," Naruto said, reassuringly. The boy smiled at him before hugging him and running off. Naruto smiled. He loved seeing kids like that be so happy. He wanted them to be more happier than he was back when he was their age. He walked in, expecting a show, but what he wasn't expecting were 6 stone statues of his friends. There he heard Laxus talking. "Let the games begin." Naruto watched as the others rushed out of the seals and as some of the others were kept back. Anger rose and pricked his chest. Did Laxus really think he could get away with this? More anger bubbled through. Suddenly it was released as Naruto punched the wall. Kurama. A demonic roar was heard as golden energy spread through Naruto's body, making it seem as if he was an angel. What is that?" Makarov gasped. "It's a form that I never showed to any of you. It's so powerful that it can defeat some of the 10 wizard saints in a blow," Naruto replied, to the other's shock. "This seal won't hold against a demon." As Laxus said, "Let the games begin." The guild watched in amazement as Naruto punched the barrier, cracking it. Odama Rasengan. The barrier broke, as the other members cheered. "Stay here, I'm gonna deal with these freaks alone," Naruto commanded. "No, I'm coming," Natsu yelled. "I'm coming as well. I have a score to settle," Gajeel said. Naruto smiled secretly. "Alright then, but the rest of you stay," he said. "Natsu, Gajeel, meet me at his castle or whatever after helping the other defeat the Thunder God tribe." Naruto suddenly disappeared, leaving Natsu and Gajeel to walk, much to their frustration. "Laxus!" Naruto yelled as he appeared into the palace. Laxus's face showed a hint of fear but was quickly wiped away with a smirk of arrogance. "So you think you can beat me? I was always far better than you. Even with all that energy that have, you still can't beat me," he said, smirking. Naruto chuckled. "You think that this is energy?" He disappeared only to reappear behind Laxus. "This isn't close. This is a form where I can destroy several members of the 10 wizard saints in one attack, and you think you can beat me? You are very funny," Naruto chuckled. Laxus's eyes widened before jumping away and facing Naruto. He suddenly looked behind Naruto. "Mistogen?" Naruto didn't have to turn around to know what had happened. He could already sense the magic coming from the lacrimas of the weapons that Mistogen had. "Mistogen, what are you doing here?" he asked. "I was about to fight Laxus, but I see that you have the situation under control," he replied. Naruto nodded. There are lacrimas of some sort in the sky. Alert every guild member and tell them to destroy them, or the lacrimas might destroy the entire town, he said. Mistogen nodded and started to run out the front doorway. Laxus started laughing. You really think that they would do that? What if I told them that the lacrimas can kill them when they attack it? Would they still do it? Naruto grinned. I have no doubt that they will. If it's to save their friends along with the entire town, then they will, no matter the cost. Laxus's grin slowly disappeared and was replaced by a glare. Damn it, he growled. Go Mistogen, I'll take care of this. The blue-haired man nodded before running off, his cloak flying behind him. Laxus growled before starting to concentrate magic into an attack to hit Mistogen so he could stop the man from telling everyone. Just as he released the attack, Naruto flew in front of it and took the blow, much to Laxus's frustration, but when he didn't see Naruto move he felt a glimmer of hope. Hey, hurts doesn't it? Laxus smirked. The smirk was suddenly wiped off and replaced with a look of shock. Was that supposed to hurt? Naruto asked looking back at him, not showing a hint of damage. What are you? Laxus asked fearfully. Me? Naruto chuckled. You can call me a demon. Natsu ran along with Gajeel close behind. They have gone through hell, trying to beat the Thunder God tribe. Damn that ramen addict on crack. Gajeel grunted. They finally reached the palace where they found Laxus and Naruto fighting. Well, it was more like Laxus trying to hit Naruto and Naruto playing with him. Hey guys, I drained some of his magical energy so I'll let you guys have a crack at him. Naruto said, standing on the ceiling. He had deactivated Biju mode and was now currently in Sage mode. I'm all fired up now. Natsu yelled while Gajeel smirked. Suddenly Laxus started to laugh. You leave these two to try and beat me? What a fool. Naruto glared at him in anger. They may not be as strong as you right now, but one day they will surpass you. He yelled. Natsu and Gajeel looked at him in shock. Never in their time in Fairy Tail had they heard him say something like that. Alright Gajeel, this is the only time we will ever team up, so let's make the most of it. Natsu yelled. Hey, never thought I woulda heard you say something like that, Salamander, Gajeel said, cracking his knuckles. Come at me with everything you got. Laxus roared. Fire Dragon's roar. Iron Dragon's roar. The two elements combined, creating a destructive attack that flew towards Laxus. As it hit the ground, smoke started to appear. Suddenly, Gajeel flew out of the smoke and slammed a club made of iron into Laxus's unsuspecting face. Iron Dragon's club. Natsu burst out of the smoke not long after Gajeel had kicked Laxus straight in the nuts with a fire-enhanced foot. Fire Dragon's claw. Laxus wheezed as he hobbled around, trying to get rid of the pain, much to Naruto's amusement. Laxus, stop waddling around, Naruto yelled. Shut up, Laxus squeaked. After Laxus had regained his dignity, he started to send attacks after attacks out of rage. Lightning Dragon's roar. Lightning shot out of Laxus's mouth, hitting Gajeel and sending him flying. Natsu charged at him, but Laxus quickly jumped, spun in midair, and kicked him in the face, sending him flying across the room. Damn it, Natsu growled as he stood up, wiping the blood off of his face. Gajeel stood up as well and quickly made his skin into scales of iron. Iron Dragon's hard fist. He yelled as he attempted to punch Laxus. Laxus twisted his body so the punch would pass him and then he quickly grabbed Gajeel and started slamming his knee into his stomach, quickly destroying the armor that was covering his abdomen. Natsu started to run towards Laxus, planning to attack him with one of his secret Dragon Slayer art attacks while he was distracted. Crimson Lotus. Fire Dragon Fists. Natsu rapidly punched Laxus as each punch created dangerous explosions. Laxus slammed into the wall, nearly breaking it. Iron Dragon's Club. Gajeel's arm extended into an iron club and slammed into Laxus, sending him flying through the wall. A few moments later Laxus smashed through another wall and slammed into Natsu, making him crash into the wall. He quickly threw his fist backwards, hitting Gajeel and sending him flying as well. He then kicked Natsu before charging up for another attack. Naruto saw the action and started to prepare to go stop it, but to his surprise, Gajeel appeared and took the blow. Salamander. Kick his ass, he said before falling into unconsciousness. Natsu got up, angrily staring at Laxus who was now laughing at Gajeel. What an idiot, he howled. Suddenly a fist slammed into him sending him staggering. I'll destroy you. Crimson Lotus. Exploding Flame Blade. Natsu concentrated the last of his magic into long torrents of flames, which moved in a spiraling formation. Each connecting strike generated a powerful, burning explosion that blew Laxus off of his feet. He slammed into the ceiling, cracking it. Natsu fell to the ground, depleted of his magic energy. Laxus fell down and slammed to the ground, exhausted. He pulled himself up slowly and started to concentrate magic for one last blow to the man who had nearly defeated him. Just before he released the magic, a hand pushed his arms away from Natsu, sending the blast of lighting away from the pink-haired man. Do you want to be hated more than you are now? I still care for you, Laxus, even if you are my enemy. I'm still your friend from all those years ago, even if you say that you aren't. Flashback. Makarov walked towards a blonde boy who was waiting for the fireworks in the festival to start. Hey Grandpa! A young Laxus yelled, who's that? Makarov walked up to Laxus with another blonde boy behind him. He had whisker tattoos and blue eyes. His name is Naruto and he might become part of the guild later on, Makarov said. Hi Naruto, Laxus said cheerfully, but his grin disappeared as he noticed Naruto hid behind his tiny grandfather. Hey, what's wrong? I'm not gonna hurt you, Laxus said reassuringly. Naruto only hid himself even more after hearing his voice. It's okay. This is someone that you can trust, Makarov said to Naruto. He reluctantly walked up and said a shy, hi. Hey, Laxus said, happily. Come on, Laxus suddenly said, pulling Naruto along. The fireworks are about to start and I want to show you them. Makarov looked at the two who were watching the fireworks in awe before smiling. That was the day that their friendship had started. Flashback end. Remember what Gramps said? That you were someone that I could trust? I know you well enough to know that you still care for these people, deep in your heart, Naruto continued. Laxus stared at him. It was true that he cared somewhat for the brats, but the reputation of the guild, it's plummeting. He couldn't let Fairy Tail drop down to the lowest of the low. I know that you believe that you are doing this all for the guild, but please. Don't do this, Naruto pleaded. Laxus stared at him, emotions running through his head. Finally he sighed, submitted defeat. Fine, but only because you're my best friend, he growled. Naruto chuckled, hey, that's what best friends are for, right? We convince each other not to kill each other and we beat each other up. Or at least I think that's what it means. Laxus laughed a true laugh for the first time in a long time. I'm not sure you get it yet, you stupid idiot. Hey, I get it completely, idiot. The festival had started and it seemed as if no one remembered the events that had happened, but one person remembered it quite well despite the happy events around him. Laxus walked out of the room, after being recently excommunicated from the guild. So, Laxus. Naruto leaned beside the doorway, hearing everything that had gone on in the room. Yeah, I guess. I'll be seeing you. Naruto sighed before extending a hand, expecting a handshake. Laxus took his hand and shook it before they both turned away to conceal the tears that had sprung from their eyes. Damn idiot. It was night and Naruto still hasn't celebrated. Suddenly it felt as if he was being tugged somewhere. He realized that it was the leaf that he gave to Sasuke. Sasuke waited impatiently in the field of the training field as Naruto teleported to where he was. Hey Sasuke, what's up? Naruto asked, as he appeared in front of Sasuke. The final exam is in a month and I need you to train me. No need to be so impatient. Just shut up and train me. Fine. First make shadow clones and then we will split them up into groups. I will be teaching you a new form of the Rasengan. Sasuke grinned in anticipation, as he created about 60 clones. Let's do this. Nami sat on the Hokage faces. It was her place of peace, a place where she could stay to sort her thoughts out. Hey, never thought I would see you here. She looked back and saw Naruto walking towards her. What do you want? She asked, annoyed. Why was he always in her business? First he took her teammate Sasuke away, and now he's about to take her special spot away? Not that she cared about the Sasuke part, but still. I just came here to think. This was my special spot back when I was in Konoha, but I left, because of certain reasons. What kind of reasons? She asked. Well, you see, my parents, they ignored me for my siblings. The village mistreated me so I left, he said quickly. Nami's eyes widened. He was just like her. Sorry. Sorry about what? Sorry, about my behavior to you earlier. You see, I am also like you. My parents only talk about this kid named Naruto and they give no attention to me. I could have died and they wouldn't have cared a single bit," she said, her voice rising in volume every second. Naruto became quiet. What a surprise. "My name is also Naruto," he whispered. "What? Hey." But it was too late to catch him. He was already gone. Nami stared at his spot in shock. He was Naruto? The person who left and caused her parents to search for him non-stop. She shook her head and started to think. She was definitely going to have to find him later and ask him questions, whether he liked it or not. Naruto sighed as he laid across another tree branch. It wasn't as comforting as the one back in Fairy Tail, but it was okay. He was used to having different tree branches. Sasuke was also on another tree branch trying hard to fall asleep. He was instructed to do it by Fire Shadow, but he didn't understand the point of it. How would this make you stronger? Suddenly Sasuke heard a voice. "Hey, Naruto." "Huh? Naruto? Isn't that the name of the 4th Hokage's kid who ran away?" Sasuke thought. "Shush. Shut up, Nami." "Fine. I'll whisper." "You're obviously not whispering." "You're not either." Sasuke's curiosity got the better of him and he started to sneak forward, but suddenly stopped when Fire Shadow called him out. "I know you're there, Sasuke." "Damn it, Nami, now I have to explain it to him too." "It's not my fault you were saying this loudly." "You were too." Sasuke's sweat dropped as the two argued. "Will someone please tell me what is going on?" he asked impatiently. Nothing, Sasuke. Go back to sleep." His sweat dropped at his obvious lie. "You're obviously lying, so tell me what's going on." Naruto sighed. "Fine. My name is Naruto, the 4th Hokage's son." Sasuke's breath caught in his throat. "What do you mean?" Naruto sighed. "What I mean is that I am the one who ran away." "Does the 4th know this?" Naruto shook his head. "Then we should tell Dad." "Mabe, no." Naruto interrupted. "I hate him. That's the reason why I left, because he hated me and I returned the feelings." They looked on silently. Little did they know that Minato Namikaze was watching them. Minato was on the verge of tears. He regretted everything he had done, but he knows that it won't mend anything. Why was he so stupid? He even killed his own sensei. Only a psychopath does that, but then again, wasn't he a psychopath himself? He watched through the crystal ball, deciding what to do. He couldn't confront Naruto, could he? After all he had done, he couldn't. He slammed his fist into the desk, cracking it. "Damn it all," he whispered in despair. "I want to come with you to train." Naruto sighed. Why did all the brats want to come to him to train? "Please. Fine. Just get out of here, brat," Naruto shouted. Nami smiled before running off happily. "See, this is the problem of becoming a super strong shinobi. All the kids want you to teach them," Naruto mumbled. Sasuke smirked before trying to sleep on the uncomfortable tree branch. "Oi, brat number 1. Let's go find brat number 2. Sasuke grumbled as he woke. "Stupid light bulb. What did you say to me?" "I said that you're a stupid light bulb." "Shut up." "Okay, brat number 2. You do know how to do the shadow clone jutsu, right?" Nami grew a tick mark, but responded anyway. "Yeah, I do. What do I need it for and why?" "You see, each clone that you make gets experience and memories. Once it is destroyed, those memories would pass on to you, so the training would go much faster." Nami nodded and formed the hand seals. Suddenly, hundreds of clones popped up, but that was suspected, of course. She was an Uzumaki after all. Naruto made a few clones to start her off with the Rasengan before coming over to Sasuke to check his progress. Suddenly he noticed a strange marking around his shoulder area. "Sasuke, what is that?" Naruto asked, pointing to the mark. Sasuke immediately covered it up. "Nothing, just let me go back to training." "That isn't nothing. I know what it is and what it does to you." Sasuke gritted his teeth. "I know what it does. It gives you power, so leave me alone." Naruto stared at him before shaking his head. "It may give you power, but it puts you under the control of Orochimaru." "Do you want that? If it helps me kill my brother." Sasuke bit back. "You wouldn't know anything about it anyways." "I do know everything about wanting revenge," Naruto said, quietly, "but even though I want revenge, I still know that it can't take priority over other things. It won't help. Just stay out of my personal life." "How would you have anything close to the massacre of the Uchiha clan?" Sasuke yelled. "My sensei was killed by the 4th Hokage. My clan was slaughtered by Iwagakure. How does that not compare?" Naruto yelled, his voice raising higher in volume each second. You think that you are the only one who has had their clan slaughtered, but you're not. Stop being selfish and open your eyes. There are people with pain greater than yours. Sasuke stared at him in shock. Naruto was like him, but yet, he didn't have revenge as high on his list as others. Then how did you get your mind out of revenge? Sasuke asked confused. Naruto grinned. The thing is, I didn't. What do you mean? I kept my revenge pretty high on my list, but I realized that there was much more to life than just that. I wanted to enjoy it as much as possible until I have the chance to take my revenge, Naruto said. Sasuke stood, deep in thought. Then teach me. What? Naruto asked in surprise. Teach me like you taught me how to fight. Naruto laughed. I can't teach you this. You have to find out how to enjoy life yourself. Now go meditate. Maybe it will help you. I have to take that curse off of you, but I can't right now. I have some business to attend to. Sasuke sat down and started to meditate. How could he find happiness in life when his family was gone? There wasn't much to enjoy after Itachi had killed his clan, so what could he find that brought him happiness? Hey Sasuke. A feminine voice brought him out of his thoughts. He turned around and found Nami's face coming in closer. Do you have a fever? You're turning really red, she asked. It was true. He felt hot and something was churning in his stomach. Probably something he ate. Anyways, Naruto-sensei said that we could go eat some ramen, so let's go. Nami said, pulling Sasuke along. I don't want to go, Sasuke said. I don't care. You're coming. Sasuke felt strange when she started to pull him. It was a feeling that he had not uncovered in a long time. Suddenly Sasuke's eyes widened as he realized what is happening. He had finally found out what he enjoyed in life. Naruto walked to the fourth Hokage's office, not bothering to knock as he walked in. Fire Shadow. What can I do for you? Minato put on a fake smile. I know you saw me talk about my identity. Minato's eyes widened. Don't think I couldn't sense you. Remember, a chakra demon was sealed into me, giving me huge advantages in sensory perception. Not only that, but I know Senjutsu and I'm part Uzumaki. You think I can't sense you? Naruto, I'm so sorry for the behavior I had displayed before. I know that it won't do much, but please. I beg for your forgiveness. Minato said, bowing to the younger blonde man. Sorry won't give back the person who acted like my real father. Sorry won't give back the torture and the wounds have been given, Naruto said coldly. Naruto. Look at you. The fourth Hokage, on his knees begging for forgiveness. Shinobi shouldn't look up to you anymore. Shinobi shouldn't give their dignity away like that. Naruto glared at him coldly before starting out the door. Before he did, he gave one last message. If you think I will ever forgive you, then you are horribly mistaken. If you didn't have an army of the world's most strongest shinobi, I would have killed you right here, right now. With that, he walked out and closed the door on the grief-stricken Hokage. Ah, Nami sighed, patting her stomach. She's been at 27 bowls already and Sasuke was pretty sure that 26 bowls wasn't very healthy. But then again, Naruto was a monster at ramen eating. Wait, he took that back. He was a monster at nearly everything. Ninjutsu, taijutsu, finding concealed Easter eggs created by the writer of this book, you name it. So, Nami, Sasuke started, hoping to strike up a conversation. Yeah? What's your favorite color? Sasuke mentally slapped himself in the face. Way to start a conversation. You're an Uchiha for Kami's sake. He thought. It's orange, of course. Anyway, I want to spar now. I want to see who's the better student. Sasuke scoffed. I've been training under Naruto-sensei far longer than you. Not to mention, I have the Sharingan. Nami glared at him. So what? I'm an Uzumaki and I won't go down easily. Sasuke glared back. Let's go get Naruto-sensei and ask him to supervise me completely destroying you. Yeah right. It's the other way around, idiot. Okay, start. Naruto yelled. The two genin jumped back before forming hand seals. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Fire Style. Fireball Jutsu. Hundreds of clones popped up, but a few dozen were taken down by the fireball, hurtling towards them. Charge. Nami yelled as the clones whipped out various weapons and charged at the lone Uchiha. He chuckled before forming hand signs. You want to play like that? Fine. Shadow Clone Jutsu. About 100 clones popped up, and started to engage the Nami clones in hand-to-hand combat. While they did, Sasuke ran straight towards Nami and immediately started to attack. They engaged in a fierce taijutsu battle, but sadly Nami was outclassed by Sasuke. Nami was instantly knocked out as Sasuke smirked in triumph. "Naruto-sensei, I won," he yelled. Naruto shook his head. "I don't think so, Sasuke." Nami disappeared in a poof of smoke, signaling that she was actually a clone. Suddenly clones appeared all around Sasuke. "Take this. Wind style. Clone ultimate destruction." Naruto was about to call her out to stop her, but it was too late. The clones disappeared into wind and started to buffet Sasuke in torrents of sharp, strong miniature tornadoes. Sasuke flew across the field as deep cuts started to appear on his skin. He stood up and growled in anger. "I can't believe I was hit by her," he thought angrily. "When did you?" Nami smirked. "Yup, when I summoned all those clones, I replaced myself as another clone and hid myself in the trees." Sasuke glared angrily. "Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu," he yelled as bursts of fire came roaring towards Nami, burning her. She flew across the field as the fire carried her, burning her in the process. Nami stood up after being burned by the fire jutsu. "I'll take you down with my newly mastered jutsu. The Rasengan," Nami yelled. "Peeved, as if you can take me down," Sasuke yelled. They ran at each other, Rasengans in their hands. Ha, ha. Suddenly, before both of them hit each other, something stopped them and their jutsus fizzed out. "Naruto-sensei, what are you doing?" Sasuke asked confused. "You two nearly killed each other. You were fighting to kill and I won't allow this. You can't spar anymore for a month." Sasuke and Nami looked at him in horror. "No, don't do this," Nami yelled. "Then how are we going to test our skills?" Sasuke asked. "You can spar with me," Naruto replied. "Now get into the hospital or I'll have to drag you there. You two are in no condition to be fighting." The two students anime cried as they followed their sensei, unwillingly. Sasuke and Nami watched as Naruto left the hospital room before glaring at each other. "I could beat you easily with a Rasengan," Nami yelled. "I would easily dodge that because you're too slow," Sasuke yelled back. "Then I would use my wind jutsu against you." Peeved. "That wind jutsu is nothing compared to my fire jutsu." "What are you talking about? That wind jutsu could destroy you. I'm Naruto's first and favorite student. He taught me the best and I could beat you easily with his teachings." "Yeah, right you are. I'm his sister. Family always comes first. I could easily beat you. I want to see you try." They both looked away in annoyance before smiling secretly. Nearby them, an unnoticed Naruto watched them in the shadows before smiling himself. He quickly jumped out of the window as they slept and walked slowly to the cemetery. "Oh hey Kakashi. Never thought I would see you here." Kakashi nodded as he stared at Obito's grave. "Kakashi, I'll be taking Nami and Sasuke out to train them. I want to know if you're fine with that." Kakashi shrugged. "Sure, why not? It will give the two some experience and they will get stronger. I leave them in your hands. Try not to kill them," Kakashi said, giving his closed-eye smile. Naruto walked over to his sensei's grave and started to pray. "Hey Arasenin, I've gotten some new students now and I'm passing your legacy to them. I'm sure that they will be very strong. I will be off to Fairy Tail in a few days so I won't be able to talk to you much, but when I get back I promise that I will. Anyway, I had to go. Bye Arasenin." Naruto finished praying and walked out of cemetery. In 3 days, Sasuke and Nami would get discharged and they would go to Fairy Tail and get their tattoos on. 3 days later, Sasuke and Nami ran out of the hospital, planning to go to their houses to pack their things. Naruto had told them what they were going to do. They were excited, more than they have been in their entire life. To go and meet the people who could make them feel as if they had the family they have always wished for was something worth seeing. "Hey guys, we are heading out now so come on." They quickly hurried and started to run out the door. "Stay safe," Azumo yelled. "Yeah," Katetsu added. "We will," Nami yelled, waving while Sasuke smirked. "Okay guys, let's get to Fairy Tail," Naruto yelled. "Yeah," Nami cheered. With that, the team of Fire Shadow departed to meet the people who had saved their sensei's life from destruction. Naruto, Sasuke, and Nami arrived at the guild building. Wow, it's so cool," Nami said staring at the large building. "Come on, let's get in already," Sasuke said, impatiently. They walked into the guild and found themselves in the midst of a battle. "Stupid Popsicle, stupid Charmander copy," The two mages hit each other, instantly knocking each other out. Sasuke and Nami sweat dropped as Naruto went to the guild master to discuss the plans involving them. Okay, follow me. Sasuke and Nami, was it? Makarov said happily. Follow me and you will get your official guild tattoo. I'm not Sasuke, Sasuke muttered. What? Makarov asked. He was genuinely confused and he couldn't hear a thing Sasuke was saying. My name is not Sasuke. Huh? Speak louder, boy. My name is not Sasugay. Suddenly his face grew red as he noticed that everyone's attention was now on him. Let's just go. Naruto chuckled as Sasuke glared at him before following Makarov to find Mirajane. Look, Naruto-sensei, I got my tattoo on. Nami yelled excitedly, waving her arm around. She had chosen to put it on her forearm with the color being orange. Nice, Naruto replied, barely paying any attention to her. She grew a tick mark and started to yell at him while Sasuke sighed. He had decided to put the tattoo on his back, right under the Uchiha crest on his shirt. He had also picked out a shinobi headband, similar to Naruto's, but instead of wearing it on his head, he tied it around his bicep where the leaf headband was also located. Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Natsu, Gray, Happy, Lucy, and Urza came to the meeting place. They walked in and suddenly. Oh no, Naruto said suddenly. What? Urza asked. If Naruto said, oh no, then that means something bad is happening. Something very bad. Yes, they are here at last. Someone said. Hey 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 hey. Some others chorused, singing a song. Oh no. Not his scent, Naruto muttered. The song continued and suddenly a spotlight shined upon the people who were singing. We're so glad you came. Glad you came. Glad you came. The voices echoed creepily. We are the Blue Pegasus Elite Crew, the Triads. Naruto stared in horror as the three playboys introduced themselves. They started to bring Lucy and Urza over and treated them like hosts, much to Natsu's and Naruto's annoyance. If they were here, then that must mean that. Naruto trailed off in his thoughts. Suddenly footsteps echoed as someone walked down the stairs. Calm down, men. Give these ladies some breathing room. A short man in a white tuxedo flipped his hair, much to the horror of everyone in the room except for the Triads. It's been far too long time, Miss Scarlet. Urza started to shake violently. A long time. Yes, I never expected to see you here. Her voice, trembling with fear. Oh, how I have missed you, my sweet honey. Naruto started to tremble as well, but not because of fear, but because of anger. He growled and blurred behind him before kicking him towards the doorway. Suddenly a hand caught his head and froze it in ice, similar to Gray's. You dare to greet us with this flying buffoon? Lamia Scale deserves more respect. We insist on it. A white-haired man walked in as the non-existent narrator introduced him. It's you, Gray said in shock. Hey, so you went and joined a guild after all? Natsu said happily. Leon threw Ichiya, who somehow managed to say the word, men, under the ice. What is wrong with you? Gray yelled. He was the one who attacked me, Gray, Leon said with anger. Hey, actually I kicked him to yaw. Hope you enjoyed the welcome present. Naruto said, blurring next to Fairy Tail's team. I suppose I should step in here to fight, should I not? A female voice called out. Marionette attack. Perfect doll. The carpet started to move as if it was alive and forced Lucy to slip. She regained her balance before growing a look of recognition on her face. Hold on, I recognize that magic, she said. Laughter erupted as it echoed throughout the room. A girl with pink hair and blue eyes appeared next to Leon. Sherry? No way. You joined a guild too? Lucy asked in disbelief. The whole scene froze as the non-existent narrator started to introduce Sherry. A few seconds later the writer, or me, grew a few tick marks before yelling. Shut up, but your readers don't know who they are. I need to introduce them to the readers. You're not getting your payment of cookies now. What? Why? The narrator yelled. Because you're not shutting up. Fine, I'll shut up, so give me my cookies. Never. Muahahahahah. Anyways, back to the story. Sherry laughed. I was hoping you fairies had forgotten who I am, but please. Do try to forget who I was, okay? Still crazy, Lucy muttered. I have been born anew by the power of love, Sherry said, a slight blush on her cheeks. Suddenly Ichiya ran up Urza. I must smell more of your parfum, he yelled. Stay back, Urza yelled in fear, bringing out a spear and pointing it at the small man. Let's go, Leon, Gray said. My pleasure, he replied. I'm ready to party. Natsu yelled as the triads looked on with a dark face. Everyone was tensed, as Naruto, Sasuke, and Nami sweat dropped. Suddenly a pole slammed into the ground. Enough. We are here to work together against the Oración Cis. A tall, bald man in something that looked like a pharaoh's attire stood at the doorway. It is not the time to fight among ourselves. Yes, Jura, Leon said, backing down. Everyone started to talk while Jura's eyes searched for someone. Hey Jar Jar. Everyone stared at Naruto, who walked up to Jura. I see you got more buff, he said, poking Jura's pack. You doing good? Stop calling me Jar Jar or I will rip your head off. He gritted his teeth. Hey, weren't you the one talking about not arguing with each other? Besides, you know I'm stronger than you, don't you? Jura slammed in his pole on the ground once more, cracking the stone beneath it. Go away, he said, obviously irritated by the blonde's presence. Alright Jarman, anyway, you still owe me your payment of 100 billion jewels by the way. I'll go ahead and stop by your house later on. Jura grew a tick mark before talking. The member from Kate's shelter have yet to arrive. Yes, Ichiya said, hanging from the point of Urza's spear. I heard that they are only sending one member. Just one member? Urza asked in surprise. That's insane. Gray exclaimed. We are supposed to be against a powerful group here. Naruto suddenly chuckled. Gray, my friend, you still have a lot to learn. There are people that are a one-man army, like me or Gildarts. Sherry stared at him in confusion. You mean to tell me that you are a one-man army? What a joke. She laughed. No, Jura said, stopping her. He is stronger than all of us combined. Don't underestimate him. Ah, thank J-Man. Jura grew another tick mark before turning to the doorway just as a small, blue-haired girl tripped on her face. PFFTT. Naruto's eyes bulged out, trying to conceal his laughter. Ow, she said standing up as everyone stared at her. Hiya, I'm sorry I got here so late. I've come from the Kate Shelter Guild. My name's Wendy. My name is Wendy. It's nice to meet all of you. She's a kid? Lucy yelled in shock. A little girl? Leon muttered to himself. Wendy huh? Natsu asked himself, quiet enough so no one could hear him. Where have I heard that name before? Sasuke found himself staring at the girl as the guilds were running after Natsu. Suddenly he was hit with a smack. Stop staring at her, Nami hissed. Why can't I? He bit back. Because. She trailed off. Suddenly they were interrupted by explosions in the sky. The Christina, the ship that was sailing in the sky, exploded. What's wrong with Christina? Someone asked. The Christina floated down as more explosions erupted inside. Finally, it exploded one more time. This time it was larger and more dangerous than any of the explosions from before. The members looked on in shock as smoke and fire started to arise from the ruins. This doesn't bode well, Leon said, in shock. Suddenly Natsu's nose twitched. Gray, I know. We've got company. Everyone stay frosty. Gray yelled. Everyone quickly got into battle positions before a man walked out of the smoke. He had red hair and a purple snake around him that reminded Naruto of a certain Sannin. Next came the others, a man with a book, a girl with white hair, another man with a yellow mohawk, a buff guy with a white vest, and another person with black hair and lipstick. Yes, he is a boy. Everyone looked on with grim faces as all the members of the Oración Cis stepped out. Lowly maggots. Swarming together, one of them said. I'm afraid short stuff isn't going to make it to the party, the girl said. Naruto stared at her. So you're a celestial mage too? Why would you want to know that? Of course I am, low life. Suddenly memories came streaming in. Low life, demon, murderer, who? Are you calling, low life? His voice turned demonic at the end and his eyes turned red and slitted as he released some ki. That's right, you heard me. I called you a low life. What are you going to do about it? The girl said, ignoring the killing intent. Suddenly the killing intent increased to an unimaginable amount. Images flashed through the girl's mind, her being killed. Her destruction by the blonde's hands. She started to shake uncontrollably as the pressure rose. Even though it was directed at her, the rest of the Oración Cis felt it. It was menacing, hateful and full of death. Naruto. Suddenly his eyes turned back to sky blue as Kurama appeared. Stop letting the hatred consume you. Remember, you have us and your friends with you. Thanks Kurama. Naruto smiled, but it was fake and the tailed fox knew it. Well, I did my best, he said as he disappeared. Now that the killer intent was gone, the Oración Seis had regained their arrogance. The quicker we finish this, the better. I'm the fastest man on earth and I'll run you through. Naruto smirked. The quicker, huh? I bet I could take on both you and that silly girl over there at the same time. Mohawk guy smirked and ran towards Naruto, who suddenly disappeared to everyone's surprise, except for the fairy tale mages. The fastest man you say? Well then Speedy, why don't I test your skills? Naruto said. As for you, he yelled, pointing at the girl, let's see whose spirits are more stronger. Kurama, a huge demon fox came roaring out, as mages around him stared in fear and awe. The girl smirked as she summoned her spirits, Gemini. They instantly turned into the demon fox as Kurama started to charge a smaller version of the Bujamata. He released it and it hit Gemini head-on, creating a huge explosion. Why couldn't I make 10 of those? The brother asked, exhausted. Not all attacks are made of magic, Kurama said, staring upon the fellow spirits as the two siblings disappeared. The girls fell to her knees as Kurama glared at her, subduing her with his menacing look as if she was a baby. Mohawk Man flew and crashed into a tree, breaking it. I admit, your idea is pretty genius, Naruto admitted. But you're still not as fast as me. Naruto turned to the rest of the various guild members. You can attack them freely now. I'm not gonna step in because you need the battle experience, so go ahead. Alright, I'm all fired up now. Natsu yelled. They ran at the Oración Seis members who quickly got into their battle stances. Soon whacks and yells of pain were heard. Idiots. Formulate a plan first, Naruto said, standing over the easily beaten guild members. He was forced to use Kurama's chakra to heal them and fix them up in the best way possible. Well, you should have helped us then. Yeah, whatever triad person 1. Hey, we have names, you know. Whatever playboy number 2. He has a name, we all do. Yup, whatever you say koi boy. Arg, I'm gonna kill you. Whack. The 3 triad members laid down on the ground with huge bumps on their heads. As I said before, formulate a plan before you go ahead trying to Shrek someone. Everyone's sweat dropped at his choice of words. Urza, you okay? Is that poison hurting you? Naruto asked, walking closer to examine her arm. She was bitten by the snake and was poisoned. Luckily Kurama's chakra sucked nearly all the poison out. She found herself growing red as he scooted closer. Hey, it's not purple now, he said happily before staring at her. Hey, do you have a fever? You're pretty red and you're hot. He suddenly went in closer and whispered in her ear, if you know what I mean. He winked and walked away, leaving the confused Urza to pick up her thoughts. I couldn't extract all the poison out. What? The other guild members hissed. The poison will consume her and eventually kill her in a few days. We can't chop her arm off and none of the tailed beast's healing powers worked, so the only thing we can do right now is save Wendy and Happy and get her to heal Urza, Naruto said. We'll leave a shadow clone with Urza if she is attacked. The rest of us needs to go and save Wendy and Happy. Naruto jumped through the trees. Ibiki, one of the triads, and Lucy stayed behind with Urza. Suddenly he sensed someone, or rather people. I don't have time for you. Fire Sile. Illuminating death. Burnt, crisp bodies fell from the trees as clouds of fire came raining down upon them. I don't need to ask them, I can already sense their base, he thought. He jumped down from the tree and yelled, Wendy. Happy, come out because I need you guys to fix Urza. A few moments passed before someone came out. I wouldn't recommend you yelling, Jinchuriki. He had orange hair, purple eyes, and piercings all over him. Recognize him? Ah, so the infamous leader of the Akatsuki shows up. Hello Pain, Naruto spat. 5 more people came from the sky, each one having orange hair, piercings, and purple eyes. All the paths of the Rinnegan, huh? Naruto muttered. He quickly stretched his hand to the side and golden flames envelope it, before stretching to his torso. Tailed Beast Fusion. Level 1. The Pains jumped up in the air and started to run as Naruto chased after them, easily catching up. Magnet Style. Rasengan. A blue orb of chakra appeared in his hand with sealing marks over it. He launched himself at the Pains, but his jutsu was suddenly sucked away. He jumped away before staring at the Pains, anticipating their next move. Bansho Tenon. Naruto immediately gathered chakra to his feet to keep him from moving towards the Rinnegan user. Chakra arms grabbed onto nearby things to help prevent Naruto from moving. Summoning jutsu. Suddenly, huge animals with the Rinnegan and piercings came flying at the blonde. He gritted his teeth before creating more chakra arms to keep the animals at bay. Finally, the Bansho Tenon stopped as Naruto whipped out 9 keys. He bit his finger before swiping the blood across each one of them. Open. The gate of the 9 tails. Open. The gate of the 8 tails. Open. The gate of the 7 tails. Open. The gate of the 6 tails. Open. The gate of the 5 tails. Open. The gate of the 4 tails. Open. The gate of the 3 tails. Open. The gate of the 2 tails. Open. The gate of the 1 tail. In all their glory stood the tailed beasts, each one looking more fierce than they had before. Kurama had golden chakra instead of fur. Gyuki had bone plating all over his body. Chomei had iron armor all over his body and wings. Seiken had steam-like chakra fire all over his body. Kukua had a single horn pointing upwards and his fur and skin had changed to a fiery orange. Son Goku had enlarged fangs and bone spikes appeared all over his body. Isobu had blue fire raging around him. Matabi is now on her hind legs and carried what looked like a blade that was covered in blue fire chakra. As for Shukaku, his entire form had changed. He was no longer a tanuki. He was now a sand dragon with seal markings covering him. They were certainly a force to be reckoned with. Naruto's golden chakra dispersed and went into each of the beasts, the 9 tails getting the biggest portion. "Ah, it's good to be back," Son Goku murmured, "especially with all my chakra refilled." The other tailed beasts nodded in agreement before staring at the pains. "So these are the leaders of the Akatsuki, the ones who wants to take us?" Kukua asked. "Yeah, and we're gonna destroy them." Nagato watched them through the eyes of Yahiko, one of his dead friends who now served his purpose as a puppet for the diva path. "This will make it all the more easy now that they have come to face me," he muttered. 8 members stepped out from various parts of the trees, facing Naruto and the tailed beasts, each one having the same clothing. A black cloak with red clouds and rings with kanjis on them. They charged at the tailed beasts, going in groups of 2 and leaving Pain to deal with Naruto. Naruto smirked. "Do you really think that they can deal with my friends? Even if they are S-rank shinobi, not even they can take on the strongest beasts in the elemental villages." The Pains stared in silence before forming a formation. Suddenly Naruto bit his finger and slammed his hand onto the ground. Summoning jutsu, he yelled as smoke appeared. Suddenly 3 huge toads, about the size of Shukaku, came from the smoke. They were all armored and ready for combat. "Take down those other summons and show them what you can do," Naruto yelled. "Right." The large toad before unsheathing his sword and jumping towards the summons with his other comrades. "Now as for you," Naruto said, turning around. His eyes were no longer sky blue, but golden with a rectangle as his pupils. Orange markings appeared around his eyes and he quickly put on a red cloak. "It's time for your beating." Sasuke jumped through the trees and gaped at what he saw. All of the tailed beasts were fighting against what looked like ninja in black and red cloaks. Nami ran past him, ignoring all the fighting around her. "Ni-san." Sasuke ran up to her and saw Naruto engaging in an intense taijutsu battle, but something wasn't right with him. He was different to say the least. "Sensei?" Naruto kicked the puppet away using his senjutsu and jumped back. "Don't interfere. This is a fight that is on a completely different level than the ones that you have been on." Suddenly, while he was distracted, a sharpened chakra pulse sliced through his chest, hitting his heart and stopping it from ever beating again. Kurama could never have been as pissed as he was now. These Akatsuki brats were so annoying. If only they could stay in one spot, then that would be so much easier for him. Sadly, this was not the case for him. Art. It's an explosion. Suddenly Kurama looked to the right where his brother, Shukaku was and where the sound of a large explosion was heard. He panicked when he saw the explosion envelope his brother Tanuki. Apparently that was also seen by his other brothers and sister, because their movements became erratic and panicky. Earth-style. Subterranean voyage. Amaterasu. Suddenly, hundreds of clones appeared from the ground, each of them having a fish-like appearance as they slammed into the flaming Matabi with different jutsus. She flew into the air before slamming onto the ground, still on fire from the black flames. Kurama glanced at her frantically. One by one, his brothers and sister were falling, and he could do nothing to save them, but get beaten down as well. Sensei, Ni-san. They watched in despair as Naruto spat out blood before falling to his knees. I never thought the 7 million Ryo fire shadow would be so weak. Sasuke clenched his hands and gritted his teeth. How dare they insult his sensei, the one who acted as the brother that he always wished he had. But before he could do anything, Naruto smirked before disappearing as a Rasengan slammed into the pain who had stabbed him. My friends, my brothers and my sisters. How dare you hurt them? Naruto appeared, unhurt, much to their relief. The tailed beasts will be put to good use. Peace shall be achieved, one of the pains said. This is what you call peace? Destruction. This isn't peace. I'll kill you for hurting my friends. Naruto roared. One by one the Akatsuki dropped down next to the pains. Sasuke's eyes narrowed as he saw one of them that quickly triggered his memory. Itachi. Naruto felt angry. No, angry was too less of a word. He was infuriated. The Akatsuki launched themselves at him, but he quickly made clones to hold them off. He had a plan and he needed the tailed beast's help. Kurama, Shukaku, Gyuki, Matabi, all of you, I need your help, please. He concentrated immensely. He appeared in what looked like a sewer with the tailed beasts in a circle around him. We can only lend our chakra to you for a little bit because of the chakra rods that were put in us, Kurama said. Their chakra, combined into one, formed a golden fire that went into his body as he returned to the fight. Suddenly golden chakra spread across his body, except it wasn't the same as the tailed beast fusion. Level 1. This was different. He opened his eyes and stared, confidently at the cloaked terrorists who stood before him. Tailed beast fusion. Level 2. The Akatsuki stepped back in nervousness. The killing intent focused on them was so immense, even Itachi struggled to stand on his feet. You shall pay with your lives, Naruto growled. Suddenly he was gone. He reappeared behind Deidara and smashed his chakra-enhanced fist into his head, brutally cracking the skull. The Diva Path puppet rose his arms and said, Bansho Tenin. Naruto disappeared again before slamming an Odama Rasengan into the puppet, sending him flying. He then ran towards another puppet and started to engage it in a fierce taijutsu, which ended when a chakra arm made another Rasengan and hit the puppet with it. Now that your leader is gone, it's time to deal with you, he said, smirking. Hidan smirked before launching himself at the chakra-enveloped shinobi, but his smirk quickly came off when Naruto smashed his scythe into pieces. Jashinists like you need to calm down, he said. Lava style. Rasen Shuriken. The red shuriken formed in his hand and he pushed it into the Jashinist, incinerating him. He then turned around and started running to Sasori. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 100 clones appeared, each one with a Rasengan in their hands. They barraged the puppet user, destroying his heart, killing him. He turned around and appeared behind Itachi and kicked him towards Sasuke, who glared at his older brother. Tell him the truth about your actions, Naruto commanded before facing the rest of the Akatsuki. Your sins have not been atoned for. I shall purge your blood with my own hands, he said, his face and voice showing no emotion at all. Itachi. Come back, you traitor. Don't tell me you're going to betray us like you did to Konoha? Kisame yelled, but it was too late. Itachi was already gone. The remaining members of the Akatsuki shivered in fear. How could they not? He had just taken out some of their members easily along with their leader. Naruto started to concentrate chakra into a small, black condensed ball. They stepped back in fear as the air around them started to waver from the pressure of the huge amounts of chakra that was put into the jutsu. He held his hand out and thrust it forward. Biju Bomb. A large flash appeared, but the jutsu along with Naruto's Biju chakra was gone. Sasuke stared at his brother, the one who had killed his clan. All this time, he has dreamt of killing this man, but now he didn't know what to say. Itachi visibly winced as the pressure quickly went up. Even if they had gone somewhere far away where they won't get interrupted by the fighting, the pressure could still be felt. Look, I don't blame you for hating me now. You can even kill me if you want, but know this. I always loved you and the only reason I kept you alive was to make you stronger. Think of it as the training session we never had. Sasuke looked up in shock. The training session we never had, huh? He muttered. He smiled a real smile before looking away as small droplets of what looked like water fell from his face. Idiot. Itachi smiled before turning back. We better get back to Naruto now. Sasuke nodded. Sensei may be strong, probably the strongest person I know, but he's not invincible. One of Itachi's eyebrows rose. Sensei? He asked. Sasuke nodded. He taught me nearly everything I know now. I am his first student and his favorite. He has another student, which is his sister. Itachi nodded before running off with Sasuke to go find Naruto. Hee, Kisame laughed, not so powerful now. Suddenly, Naruto did something that caught them completely off guard. He laughed. Ha, you think I still won't kill you for hurting my friends? No one gets away with that. Not even you. He quickly turned Sage Mode on and launched himself towards Kisame, who immediately got into a fighting stance. Fox style. Taijutsu chakra fists. Red chakra fire coated his fists as he started to punch Kisame, who was getting burned by the chakra. Kisame jumped away before forming some hand seals. Water style. 1,000 feeding sharks. Kisame yelled as a large wave rose up with 1,000 sharks. Naruto quickly formed some hand seals, creating shadow clones to hold the sharks and Kisame off. He started to concentrate immensely and gathering chakra until the last clone was dispersed. He stood up before forming a hand seal. Tailed beast style. Kuro Raideningu. Suddenly Kisame along with Kakuzu were instantly electrocuted with lightning, but these weren't normal lightning bolts. They were black as midnight and could kill anyone with just one bolt. They screamed as they experienced thousands of deaths as thousands of the bolts struck them. Once it was finished they fell to the ground and crumbled until nothing was left. Naruto fell onto one knee as Sasuke and Itachi ran up to him. Glad you guys could make it. Where's my stupid sister? He panted. Sasuke looked around and even tried to sense his fellow student. Sensei. She's not here. He yelled, frantically. Damn it, that's where that damn purple-haired Akatsuki went. He growled. He tried standing up but fell. Naruto, I think it's best you do not move right now, Itachi said, putting a hand on his shoulder to restrain the chakra-exhausted boy. Get off of me, Itachi. I need to get Nami out of there, he said, angrily trying to escape the former Akatsuki member's grasp. No, you need rest, Itachi said, firmly. Damn it, Naruto muttered. Sensei, I'll go. Naruto stared wide-eyed at Sasuke. You're talking about the man who is the leader of the Akatsuki, who even I had trouble beating. But you didn't go full out on them. Itachi froze. He didn't go full out yet? He thought, his brain whirling 1,000 miles per second. It's only because it promised him to never use it unless the world is in danger. Come on, Sensei, let me go and get Nami back. Sasuke pleaded. Naruto growled. No, I'm not the same weak kid that you met before. Sure, my Sage Mode isn't close to perfect, but I'm not weak. Sasuke argued. Naruto stared at him before sighing in submission. Fine, just get out of here, you stupid brat. Sasuke smiled before running off to go find his fellow student and the leader of the Akatsuki. Dumbass kid, Naruto grumbled. Sasuke ran through the trees before gathering a little bit of nature chakra to sense the leader and Nami. He put his hand through what looked like a tree and stepped inside. Please do not move or I will have to kill the girl. He stared at the purple-haired girl who stood with a kunai at Nami's throat. He looked around and spotted a bony red head with the Rinnegan and came to the conclusion that he was the leader. Look, all I want is my friend and then I'll leave. The leader stared at him before saying, friend? Sasuke nodded. Yes, she's my friend and I would like her back. The bony Rinnegan user laughed a raspy laugh. I am God. I can do whatever I want and I won't ever give her to you. A glint of insanity shone through his eyes as the purple-haired girl stared at him with worry. Nagato. She was about to say something but stopped. I just want to take her peacefully. Peace? There is no such thing until I complete the Geto Mazo. There is. My sensei, Naruto Uzumaki the Fire Shadow, will achieve it and not even you can stop him. Nagato stared at him in curiosity. Naruto. Uzumaki. Tell me about this, Naruto. Fine, I'll tell you everything I know now. Sasuke took a deep breath before opening his mouth to tell the story of Naruto. Naruto came from what was considered royalty, but he himself was not. In fact, nearly everyone treated him like dirt, as if he was A demon, even by his own family, Sasuke said. So one day he decided to leave. He left and sometime after, he was found by the Sannin, Jiraiya. Jiraiya was sympathetic and taught him and became the father that he never had. He became the first thing that gave him joy, but one day that joy was taken away from him. The Yondaime had found him and wanted him back, so he killed Jiraiya. Nagato interrupted. But wasn't Jiraiya his sensei? He asked. Sasuke shrugged. Apparently, but from what I've learned, the Yondaime is a cruel man, he replied. Anyway, Naruto felt rage like no other, which somehow triggered the powers which made him who he is now. Sasuke chuckled. It's kinda like the Uchiha and the Sharingan. Naruto summoned the Kyuubi who battled the Yondaime to hold him off. Naruto ran off, but was exhausted from the energy exertion and fell unconscious. There he was found by some people who made him into slaves for some kind of tower. He revolted along with the other slaves and escaped. He was then found by the master of the guild, Fairy Tail. He joined them and thought of a name for himself, which was Fire Shadow. Funny, Fire Shadow means the same as Hokage, Nagato mused. Sasuke nodded before continuing. He wore a mask to conceal his identity because of the fear of being caught by the Yondaime. He was sent on a S-rank mission with another team and completed it successful, with the teammates praising his powers, speed, and intelligence. Soon he was known throughout all of Fury. He quickly found his other powers, but at a price. His friends' lives. Some of them died and the rage fueled him to unlock all of the tailed beast keys. He did not understand why he had those keys, but he was thankful because he knew that he could now save his friends and protect the. Save them, huh? Nagato muttered, thinking about something. After the fight, he was met by a strange man with red hair and purple eyes with rings, similar to yours. Ring any bells? Nagato's eyes widened considerably as he let out a small gasp of surprise. T, the Sage of Six Paths? But how? I don't know. This part, he never told me. All I know is that he received some sort of new chakra that he should only use if the world was in danger, Sasuke said. Something in Nagato's eyes simmered down as he looked at Sasuke. Go on, keep telling the story. He then went to the elemental nations and soon earned a bounty of nearly 50,000 ryo. He increased it until it went up to 7 million. Then he was known across both the elemental nations and Fury as Fire Shadow. Sasuke shrugged. That's all I know so far. Nagato stayed quiet, in a thinking posture. Nagato, Konan started but was quickly interrupted. I won't attack. Konan stared at him in surprise. But why Nagato? Was all our hard work and time was spent on nothing? If the sage talked to him, then that means that he is the one to save us all. Not even I can do a thing about it. Konan immediately backed off and nodded in submission. I need to go now. If you want to contact Naruto or me, rip this leaf in two. Sasuke handed Konan and Nagato orange leaves. I'll take my leave now, he said before disappearing in a handful of floating leaves. Naruto stared at the dumbfounded Urza, Natsu, and the rest of the United Guild members. You mean to tell me that you defeated a deadly assassin group filled with people at least S rank? Don't think I didn't forget about the immortal guy, the person with 5 lives, someone with the power of a god, and another who had a power that wasn't shown in decades. What the hell? Gray practically screamed. Yeah? The amount of damage and pressure. Natsu mumbled with eyes the size and color of white bowls. And the amounts of chakra. This was not expected, even from you, Urza added. Well, I kinda went a little overboard, Naruto mumbled. A little? Everyone anime dropped at his description of the destruction that he had created. Thousands of trees were overthrown. Craters the size of a very large mansion were scattered across the battlefield and large amounts of chakra could be felt all around the land. Sasuke suddenly appeared. I convinced Nagato to cease the war against you and the tailed beasts. Naruto instantly brightened. Good job. I'm guessing he will most likely want to see me, right? Sasuke nodded. I gave him the leaves too. Naruto turned to the guild members and waved his hand. Bye guys. I'll be leaving in 3, 2, 1. The 2 shinobi disappeared, leaving the mages stuck in confusion and amazement. Hey guys, Naruto said as he appeared in the hideout. You are Naruto Uzumaki, no? Nagato asked. Naruto nodded. I have come to tell you that I will be cutting off my attacks. May I ask why? Naruto asked. The sage's wise words are the only thing I need, was his only response. Naruto nodded before taking in the equipment and wires on Nagato. I could get rid of those things, ya know? He said, pointing to the wires. Nagato rose an eyebrow. Show me, he commanded. Naruto took off his gloves, revealing a moon tattoo on one hand and a sun tattoo on the other. He jumped up behind Nagato and put both hands on his back. Soon, his bony figure was quickly disappearing as the equipment fell off, one by one. Thank you. You truly are the sage's chosen one, he said, grasping Naruto's hands in a handshake. It's nothing, Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head. Nagato got out of the lower equipment and shakily started to walk. He fell much to Sasuke's and Naruto's amusement and picked himself up. Naruto opened his mouth to say something. Nagato, I know a place where you will be accepted. It's called Fairy Tail. Have you ever heard of it? Okay, some last-minute training guys. Nami and Sasuke stopped their warm-up, which consisted of 200 push-ups, 100 punches against stone, 100 kicks against stone, 100 laps around Magnolia, 200 sit-ups, etc. Most would not call it a warm-up, but hell. Then again, these shinobi weren't close to normal. Naruto had recently dropped off Nagato and Itachi to the guild and was now training his students for a few more minutes until the third exam. Get prepared for sparring, and, now. Sasuke and Nami charged at the waiting sensei before starting to do a collaboration jutsu. Collaboration. Wind fire dragons. Sasuke spat out 2 fire dragons while Nami did the same except with wind. The wind enlarged the fire as it headed toward Naruto. Water style. Ultimate dragons. Naruto roared. Several large dragons, twice the size of the dragons that Sasuke and Nami made, came roaring towards Sasuke and Nami, destroying their dragons. Just as it was about to hit them, they disappeared only to reappear behind a few trees. Suddenly Naruto burst through the tree trunk and slammed into both of them before holding a knife to their throats. You both forgot that I can sense you easily, he said, smiling. I win. Sasuke and Nami grumbled before getting up. Start gathering chakra a bit before we'll go. I'm planning to come in with an awesome entrance, Naruto said. They sat down before starting to meditate while Naruto started to get ready for the entrance. Firebomb? Check. Leaves? Check. What else would be essential? Naruto asked himself. Maybe shutting up so he could concentrate? Nami asked, shooting an annoyed glance at Naruto. Stupid sisters, Naruto muttered. See, he likes me better. Urusei. Okay. 3, 2, 1. They appeared in the middle of the stadium as a large explosion of fire appeared. Leaves fell to the side as the fire disappeared, revealing the 3 shinobi standing back to back. Were we too late? Naruto asked coolly, his hair swaying from the wind that had mysteriously appeared. TCH, as if, Sasuke added, quietly. Nami grinned as she crossed her arms. People stared at the trio who had just appeared out of nowhere in awe. Some stared at Naruto in confusion as he had his mask off this time. Suddenly one started clapping. That one turned into 2 and then 4. The entire stadium clapped as the 3 walked up the stairs to the balcony for the participants. That was badass, right? Naruto asked, jabbing his elbow into Sasuke's ribs. Yeah, just stop ramming my ribs. Kakashi, you don't have 4 students, right? Kurenai asked. He nodded, his eyes never leaving the orange, perverted book that he always read. Then, who's that blonde-haired person? He is the 7 million bounty, Fire Shadow. Don't know how he got Nami and Sasuke out of their shell, but it was probably for the better. Oh, she looked sideways as Naruto walked up to the senseis. Hello, ma'am. Hey Kaka Baka. Kakashi grew a tick mark at the name but kept reading the book. Still reading those books of yours, I see? Well then, I guess I will have to let you in on something, the blonde-haired boy said. He leaned in to whisper something into Kakashi's ears. Luckily, Kurenai's ears were able to pick up what he said. I'm planning on making the next book, and it's going to be 10 times better than the one that was released last year, and I'm giving the first copy to you for being the fan of the year. Suddenly Kurenai's ki flared up as Naruto backed off nervously. So you're the one making those stupid books Asuma is reading all the time? The sound of flesh hitting flesh was heard for the next few minutes as the competitors fought. Kakashi nodded as he looked on to the next contenders. Nami had utterly destroyed Neji in a few seconds using shadow clones and Odama Rasengans. It's Sasuke's fight this time and I'm more than confident that he will win, Naruto said. They watched as the unstable boy fought his student. Sasuke broke through each sand shield with a Rasengan and Gaara only barely missed his attacks. Well then, I think I will have to go somewhere, now, Naruto said before disappearing. He reappeared right beside the fourth right as Orochimaru revealed his presence and slashed at him with his sword. Naruto? Don't think I like you. I'm only doing this for Nami and the leaf, Naruto said coldly. Minato nodded sadly before getting out his signature kunai. Orochimaru scowled at the two cage-level ninja in front of him. Even if he was one of the Sannin, not even he could deal with the two blonde-haired death machines, let alone one. He would have to retreat for now. He jumped away with the Sound 4 and immediately panicked when the Yondaime and the famous Fire Shadow chased after him. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Thousands of Fire Shadow's clones appeared as Orochimaru panicked even more. They charged at his Sound 4, utterly destroying them as the Yondaime flashed around Orochimaru, hitting him before disappearing only to appear somewhere else to hit him again. Naruto chuckled as he watched the Sound 4 desperately fight off his clones. The Sound 4 were supposed to be elite, but they haven't destroyed one clone yet. Something was off though. Weren't there 4 members? There is only 3, so where was the 4th? Suddenly one popped out of the trees. She had orange hair and had the same attire as her teammates and her master. I am sorry for being late, she panted. The others shot her looked as one walked up to her and kicked her away. Stupid trash, like you shouldn't even be here. You're lucky we even keep you alive, he sneered. Naruto's fists tightened as memories started to appear. Stupid trash, like you shouldn't even be alive. You're lucky you're even alive. The voices repeated in his head as he began to see a tint of red in his eyes. He dispelled his clones, surprising the Sound 4. One of them, the one with 2 heads, smirked. So you see that we are too powerful for you, huh? You worthless SC. He was interrupted as a golden fist smashed into his face, whipping it backwards. Naruto disappeared before stabbing his hand through another one's chest. The final one stared at him in fear as he began to back away slowly. Soon blood was splattered onto the green leaves, as Naruto turned around to face the girl. Who are you? The girl asked, backing off in fear as his cold eyes turned back to stare at her. My name is Naruto Uzumaki and you're coming with me. Why would I come with you? She asked. Stay back, she yelled, waving her flute as Naruto walked a bit closer. Suddenly, in the blink of an eye, she was being carried, bridal style, as he walked calmly towards Konoha. What are you doing? She asked, blushing furiously when she could feel his pack through his shirt. I'm taking you to a place, was his brief reply. No, it's not Konoha. He quickly created a shadow clone and handed her to him. Take her to the guild, he said. The clone nodded before racing off with speeds that made her scream in fear. I swear, I'm that one recruiter that everyone goes to, Naruto muttered. Well, I'm not that surprised of that. He turned around and saw Minato carrying an unconscious Orochimaru on his shoulder. Look, Naruto, I'm deeply sorry for what I've done. I regret each and every crime I've done against you and Sensei, so please forgive me. Minato bowed before the younger Namikaze. Sorry, can't heal the wounds, Naruto whispered. I know it can't, but I still want to help. Please give me a chance. Minato pleaded. He was instantly surprised as he saw the thing what he thought was impossible. Naruto was crying. Sasuke and Nami grinned at Gaara and his siblings as they jumped away. Guess that Gaara is gonna be making a lot more friends now, Nami said, excitedly. Sasuke grunted, but you could see in his eyes that he was happy for the rejected boy. Oh, come on Sasuke-chan, you're probably too emo to admit being happy for him. Shut it, blonde. Hey, your best friend and sensei also has blonde hair. Yeah, except yours looks worse. Be quiet. The guild doors were kicked open as Naruto walked in with his students. Hello peoples, Naruto yelled. Hi. Everyone chorused before doing whatever they were doing before. Naruto, fight me. Natsu jumped with his fists on fire but was immediately smashed to the ground. Nice try, Torch Boy, now leave me alone so I can eat my damn ramen, Naruto said. He scanned over the crowd and a smile found a way onto his face when he saw Tayuya talking happily to Mira. How he knew her name. Probably his shadow clone who asked her. Hey Mira, I'd like to have 26 bowls this time, he said, walking up to the counter. Okay Naruto. She walked off to make the ramen but not before sending a wink towards Tayuya. Why? He didn't know. The writer probably wanted to fuck with him by confusing him. Hey, Tayuya, hi, she stuttered. Look, I just wanted to say, thank you. Naruto pulled his face out of the ramen that Mira had recently put in front of him. What did you say? She huffed. Never mind. I hate apologies anyway, she muttered. Old man, fight him. Natsu was slammed down to the ground again. I'm not old. I'm about your age and I'm not fighting you when I'm eating ramen. Do you really want a beating right now? It wouldn't matter because Wendy would fix me up, especially now that she's in the guild, Natsu croaked. Naruto smirked. Then I'll kill you. This time it was Natsu who smirked. Nagato would make me alive again. Then I'll kill him. Are you really going to do that, Naruto? Nagato said as he stood behind him. You bet your ass I do. Oi, Naruto. Sasuke said. Calm your tits. At this point Naruto had steam coming straight out of his ears. Why don't you calm yours? What did you say? I couldn't hear you because of your bright ass hair blocking my hearing. It's making me blind. Who the hell has hair like that, except for Nami? Nami's hair is the worst. Naruto nodded. You're definitely right about that. Nami's hair is so. He was interrupted when Nami immediately jumped up and punched Sasuke and Naruto through the roof. Damn, they got knocked the FUGG out. Everyone stared at the green ogre who popped out of the window. Donkey, they're onto us. Pull me out, pull me out. Bells started to ring as Wendy, Lucy, and Carla looked on in confusion. What's up? Lucy asked. It sounds like bells, Carla and Wendy said in unison. Yeah, elfmen yelled, raising a fist up. That's awesome, Gray said. Gildarts is back. Everyone chorused before getting out drinks and partying. Gildarts? Who's that? Lucy asked. He's the strongest person in Fairy Tail except for me. I could beat him to the dust any day. Naruto said as he appeared behind Lucy who squeaked in surprise. Totally. That's so crazy. Lucy said, so what has he been doing? Naruto licked his lips and grinned in anticipation while Mirajane and Urza explained the situation. He couldn't wait until Gildarts came back so that they could spar once more. He disappeared in a large flash and appeared next to Gildarts. Hey old man, ready for A? He cut himself off. Something wasn't right about Gildarts. His magic flow was cut off at his arm and it was. Gildarts, don't tell me that your arm is gone. Gildarts sighed. I hoped that you wouldn't have noticed, but of course, you of all people would know by just looking at me, he grinned. Don't think that it's going to stop me though. We are going to on a taijutsu racing battle all the way across the road. Naruto grinned as parts of Magnolia started to move, creating a path. Why don't we start old man? Lucy watched in anticipation, but as time passed she began to hear sounds of fighting. Urza, do you hear that? It sounds like fighting. Urza sighed. That's probably where Naruto went. I'm pretty sure you know what they're doing. She sweat dropped and watched as two people in the distance seemed to be fighting. Suddenly, in a blink of an eye they raced past the guild doors and smashed into the bar before picking themselves up to yell at each other. I won the taijutsu running race. I hit you 153 times and beat you. Naruto yelled. I won the taijutsu running race. You hit me 152 times and I hit you 153 times. Gildarts yelled back at him. Stop lying. I won. No, I did. Everyone's sweat dropped at their childish bickering while Wendley, Carla and Lucy took a look at Gildarts. Hey old geezer, let's fight, Natsu yelled. Gildarts ignored him and looked at his surroundings. Hey, Naruto, where's the guild at? Naruto hit him in the head before yelling, this is the guild dumbass. Wow, did you change some stuff here? Hey that's Mira, man she sure grew up. Gildarts ranted as his eyes bulged out. This is the second strongest man in Fairy Tail? Lucy thought. Gildarts. Natsu yelled again. Natsu. Hey pal, there's someone I recognize. Naruto grew a tick mark before yelling, hey, didn't you recognize me? Only because of your bright ass hair and your stupid tattoos. Those tattoos are cool. They look good on me. Gildarts. Good to see ya. Now let's fig woa. Gildarts easily dispatched the running Natsu and threw him on the ceiling. Not now kid, he said as the rest of the guild watched. I see a couple of new faces around here too. Yeah, because I'm the only one who recruited people. I swear, if it wasn't for me, this guild would have no members left. Naruto ranted. Gildarts. He looked at who said his name before walking over to Makarov. Looking good master. he said. How did the mission go? Makarov asked. Suddenly Gildart started to laugh before rubbing the back of his head. No good. Suddenly it was as if everyone had their voices taken out. No way. But that's Gildart's. One muttered. He's joking, right? Another said. Naruto clenched his fists. Who could have done it? He quietly asked himself. Makarov finished talking and Gildarts walked away towards the wall. Thanks, boss. Now I got to get back home and start to actually feel alive, he said. Oh, Natsu. Stop by later. I brought something back for ya. He laughed a little before continuing his walk. Well, I'm outta here, you guys. With that, the wall in front of him broke to pieces as he walked out. Lucis' eyes became white discs while another guild member yelled, "You can use the front door, ya know." He. Natsu laughed before lighting his fist on fire. I wonder what the old monks got for me. I'm all fired up now. Just thinking about it. He punched through the wall, creating another hole and more complaints. Come on, Happy, we're out of here too. Naruto grinned, much to everyone's notice. Naruto. Makarov warned, but it was too late. Rasengan. The wall was destroyed as Naruto ran out screaming, "You and I are not done yet, Gildarts. Get your dumbass back here." Sasuke sighed as Nami grew a mischievous grin. Man, I wonder if we go out there too. No. Everyone screamed as they dogpiled the two before they could do a single thing. Natsu opened the door and cheerfully yelled, "Yo," as Happy also yelled, "What's up, man?" Hey, good to see ya, Gildart said, smiling. Man, it's been a long time since we've been here. Natsu said, seems like it's been forever. Happy agreed. So what ya got for me, Pops? Never mind that. How have you and Lee-sana been getting along since I've been gone? What? You don't have to play coy. Gildarts laughed. Lee-sana died. Natsu's face was dead serious. A tint of sadness stuck in his eyes. 2 years ago. Gildart's eyes widened as memories of young Natsu and Lee-sana came flooding in. They were like best friends and even acted like parents for young Happy. Hey, are you serious? He asked. I see. Explains why Mira. My condolences. If that's all you want to talk about, then I'm out. Natsu said, turning to the door. Natsu, wait. Happy said, listen, while I was gone, I met a dragon. Natsu stopped immediately and turned around, eyes wide at his sentence. It's not the one you're looking for though. It was black as moonless night. Natsu stepped forward. Where was it? Sacred Mount Zonia. He's the real reason I failed my quest, Gildart said. So what are you going to do? Well, obviously. I'll ask him if he knows where Igloo is. Think again, kid. Gildart said, that black one's long gone by now. He's out flying in wild blue yonder. I don't care. I could just track him down. Natsu yelled. Natsu, look at me. Gildarts ripped off his cloak as Natsu and Happy gasped at the bandages and the wooden leg and arm that was in the place of the original. It was over before I knew what hit me, Gildarts said. He ripped off my arm, my leg, and then he gutted me. Natsu and Happy stared with unbelieving eyes as Gildarts continued. Igneel may be a different kind of creature, but this one is no friend of anyone, he said, putting his cloak back on. There's not a man, not even Naruto, who could beat him. Natsu stared before yelling, look. We dragon slayers aren't just called that for nothing. This guy doesn't stand a chance against what I'm capable of. Naruto walked home as memories barraged him. Books. Acnologia. The king of dragons. Zareth. Demons. The dragons have been wiped out, but not all. He was sure of it. Was this the evil that Super Sage Gramps was talking about? He asked himself. Naruto, if Acnologia strikes with the rest of the dragons, then we are going to have to. I know, Kurama. We are going to have to go through that plan. Naruto walked in silence as leaves rustled from the wind in the forest. He jumped up to his favorite tree and lay down on the branch, but yet he couldn't sleep. Naruto stared up at the sky as a large storm started to rumble above. Hey Kurama, that doesn't feel normal, does it? No, definitely not, he responded. Lightning started to rumble in the middle as Naruto walked towards the guild. Boom! Naruto fell to his knees. Crash! The guild was gone. Smash! Everything was black. Arg! Monkey tits! Naruto grumbled as he stood up. My head hurts and everything is snowing. Kinda. Naruto. Wendy yelled. Oh, hey Wendy, what happened? Why am I in snow that's not really snow? Why are there bubbles? What's going on? Naruto frantically asked. Suddenly Natsu popped out of the ground and stared at the things before him before his eyes turned into white discs. Huh? What's going on? Bubbles? Whoa, where are we? His head moved left to right with each question he asked. Wendy soon had tears, threatening to overflow. Thank goodness, I'm not alone, she thought to herself. Natsu? Naruto? Do you have any idea what happened? Naruto ignored her and made a snowball before throwing it into Natsu's face. The two got into a massive snowball fight which ended when Naruto shoved the white stuff right into Natsu's mouth. Oh yeah, no I don't. Sorry, he said, casually shoveling more and more of the snow-like element into Natsu's mouth. A huge hole opened up in the sky. The guild hall, the town, and everyone in it was sucked right into it. Wendy cried. I haven't seen anyone. I'm afraid we're the last ones who made it out alive. Naruto stared at her in disbelief before laughing. Ha, the ha ha ha. Last he. ONESHAAAAA. Alive ALSDKG Herod SFDS. He calmed down before walking over to Wendy and knocking on her head. I think the storm made you a bit crazy. Believe me, none of them are dead, Naruto smiled reassuringly. Wait, but do you think that me and Natsu weren't sucked into that thing? Wendy asked. That's exactly right. Carla appeared out of the cloud things. Carla, you're safe. I thought I lost you. In fact, you are lucky you are dragon slayers or you would have suffered the same fate as everyone else. Then how the absolute duck did I survive this ducking thing? Naruto yelled. Shut it boy, Carla said, annoyed from his yelling. Hey, I'm older than you so why don't you shut it brat? A distinct oh screaming sound effect was heard in the distance as he and Carla had a small stare-off. Anyway, it didn't matter if the others were sucked in. All that matters is that you are alive, Carla said. Natsu instantly jumped up. Alright, I can't take it anymore. So you're saying the others disappearing isn't important? He yelled. Suddenly his eyes became the size of a plate and his teeth became somewhat sharp. Wait, that crazy story that you told me was true? Wendy looked at him and nodded. He turned around and started to scream. Don't waste your breath. There's no one left to hear you, Carla said. They have been taken by the anima and therefore no longer exists. Naruto sat and started to concentrate while Carla and Wendy started to talk. Naruto, what in the heavens do you think you are doing? We have to get to Daedalus if you even know what that means. Carla yelled. Naruto stood up suddenly and took his glove off. 6 paths. Sakai no Potaru. A golden rectangle slowly grew out of the ground. A rippling, purple element was in the middle. I've made a portal to Daedalus and yes I do know what it is. Having a 500-year-old demon can be very beneficial ya know. Naruto said. Now then, get ready for the ride of your lifetime. He grinned and faced the portal. Let's go. As they stepped in, they gazed at sight before them. It was around daytime and the scene was beautiful. Floating rocks and islands were all around as clouds surrounded them. Come on Happy, let's go, Natsu said. Happy took that as a cue to latch onto him as they flew with Wendy and Carla not so far behind them. After a while of flying, Happy and Carla's wings suddenly disappeared, sending both them and Natsu and Wendy plummeting to the ground. They slammed through the soft, but large mushrooms and finally stopped their fall on one of them. How come your wings don't work anymore? Wendy asked Carla after picking herself up. Natsu had gotten his head stuck onto the giant mushroom while the two cats were completely fine. I told you, magic is a limited resource in this world, Carla said as Natsu desperately tried to pull his face out of the mushroom. Oh yeah Carla, you're right, Wendy said, not giving a crap about the oxygen-deprived Natsu. And I guess I do feel a little strange. Natsu finally popped his head out of the mushroom before standing up and yelled excitedly. Let's go, we gotta find where they took all our friends. Naruto walked around. I wonder if Woa. He tripped on a root and landed right into someone's breasts. Pillow? Wait. But pillows don't have beating hearts that accelerates when I go onto them. But they are so squishy. Does my pillow really feel like that? Naruto asked himself. Why you pervert? Pillows don't talk either, Naruto said rubbing his face into it. I wonder what it is. Get off me, Naruto looked up straight into the eyes of Lucy Heartfilia in a badass suit. Oh, that was your boobs? She turned even more red as she fumbled for words. He's so hot. She thought. Ah, now that I found you, I can go to your version of fairy tale. Lead me, pretty lady. Why would I do that? Okay, guess I'll have to take you. He grabbed her and she found herself at Fairy Tail instantly as if she were teleported. What the hell? How did you do that? She asked as everyone stared at the two. I used my super duper awesome skills. He responded before putting a thumbs up and cracking a smile that can make any lady weak in their knees. Lucy, who is that? Naruto's eyes bulged as he started to choke. What the hell? He coughed furiously before screaming again. Why the duck fuck is Edalus Wendy hot as hell? Wendy grew a tint of red before yelling, pervert. Hey, how is that perverted? Just because I am a man and my body reacts that way to hot women, doesn't mean I'm a pervert. Blame it on my body. Fine then. Lucy immediately attempted to punch him but he blurred out of the way and caught her fist in midair. Don't get too feisty, Miss Heartfilia, he said before looking at the others. Who are you? Wendy asked, this time more forcefully. Who I am, you ask? Well then, Naruto smiled at them happily. I am Naruto Uzumaki, the reincarnation of Ashura Otsutsuki, your first guild master. Mighty Exceed, please forgive us and let us go with our lives. Exceed? Natsu asked. I wonder who they are talking about, Wendy said. They had just recently started to walk for miles without finding on bit of human life. Finally they stumbled upon these two natives who for some reason were bowing before them. Yo, Natsu said, stepping forward. Don't scare them, Natsu. Happy said, worried. Well, it's not like we can avoid them now. He said before turning to the people. I got something important to ask you guys, so listen closely, okay? They nodded, but their eyes were only on Happy. They ignored Natsu and when Happy stepped forward innocently, they immediately screamed and started to run away as quick as their legs could go. Please don't hurt USSS. Natsu's sweat dropped. Well, excuse me, and how do we know you aren't just lying to us? Jet asked. Yeah, Nab agreed. Naruto chuckled before pulling his glove off. Is this enough proof? Everyone stared in shock and awe. The power. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same as Ashura-sama's. Everyone started to bow down, much to Naruto's annoyance and irritation. Guys, stand up, you don't need to bow. Everyone immediately stood up as Naruto's sweat dropped. Go. Do whatever you were doing before. Everyone immediately did whatever they were doing before, drinking, talking, fooling around. Naruto sighed and face-palmed while Lucy approached him slowly. Ashura-sama. Look, I'm just a reincarnation and my real name is Naruto. Don't put any titles. Yes, Naruto-sama, I said no titles. Suddenly, Sasuke and Nami came crashing in through the roof as a red-haired woman slammed beside them with a spear at their necks. Everything froze. Get away from my students. Naruto's voice rang out. The walls cracked as Urza stumbled before regaining her posture. You fool, do you know who I am? I am Urza Nightwalker, hunter of fairies. She spat out before lunging at him. The fairy tale hunter, you say? Well then, Urza Nightwalker, meet your worst nightmare. Naruto cracked a foxy grin. Because Naruto Uzumaki is here. The fairy tale hunter, you say? Well then, Urza Nightwalker, meet your worst nightmare. Naruto cracked a foxy grin. Because Naruto Uzumaki is here. Urza instantly changed weapons as she charged at Naruto, who just smirked before disappearing out of the air. Suddenly she felt a blinding pain as if 3 houses had just landed on her head. She flew and slammed into the wall, breaking it and smashing into Natsu, Wendy, Carla, and Happy. Urza? Natsu asked, confused. She instantly attempted to kill him, but thanks to his reflexes, Natsu moved away. Urza, what do you think you're doing? He yelled. Natsu, that isn't the Urza you know. She's a different Urza. Naruto yelled. What do you mean? Natsu yelled as he dodged more of the slashes. We are in an alternate dimension. This place and everyone you know are different. No. This world's Urza is evil and our Urza is somewhere locked up probably. Naruto said as he kicked the Edalus Urza away from Natsu. Everyone, get into the guild and tell Levi to use the teleporter. Tell her that I will stall for time. Wendy nodded as she, Happy, and Carla grabbed the protesting Natsu and dragged him to the guild. Now then, Miss Nightwalker, shall we have some fun? Naruto asked, a grin finding its way on his face. Sasuke stared as Edalus Levi started up some kind of machine. Hey, what are you doing? He asked. I'm getting the teleporter to work, so be quiet. Wait, so is Naruto going to be left behind? Not if he wants to, and even if he is, Naruto-sama will still find his way here. That was true. Sasuke knew well enough that Naruto would somehow find his way. Suddenly Naruto burst through the doors. Start the teleporter. Yes, Naruto-sama. Rocks and pebbles started to rise as the air started to vibrate. Hurry. I kicked her pretty far away, but she will be here in seconds if her dragon helps her. A roar was heard and suddenly things and people started to float as the air vibrated as if there was no tomorrow. This is crazy. Happy yelled. Everyone, hold on to something. Lucy yelled. Suddenly a large flash of light appeared and the guild was gone. Filthy cowards. Urza cursed. She had been so close and so fast, but the teleporter had been faster. Teleportation magic. To think they would stoop to employ a spell that uses such an enormous amount of power in one shot. My oh my, dark guilds sure are wasteful. A man stood beside her as he stared at the crater and the amount of energy that was left behind. I didn't realize you were here, sugar boy, Urza Nightwalker said. This is truly concerning, the man said. Those fairies are quite a resourceful bunch. You shouldn't praise insects, you should squash them quickly, Urza said angrily. Yet they've managed to escape how many times? Not only that, but that man with yellow hair was able to land such great blows on you, but yet you couldn't hit him once. These insects are resilient, but they can't keep the act up for much longer. Their demise is as certain as the sunset. Did you hear the giant Anima plan was a success? Suddenly a voice called out. Yes, I did, but unfortunately, I will be taking my friends back. Where are you? Urza said as she took out her spear. Don't worry. It's only me. Urza recognized the voice and tightened her grip on her spear. Naruto Uzumaki, she thought angrily. I'll be going now. See ya. Oh yay, I forgot to say something. Sugary boy or whatever your name is. You got some fancy ass armor. It's pink too. He brightened immediately and put a thumbs up. Thanks. Urza glared at him before she slammed her spear onto the ground. I told you not to praise them. The guild was on the floor, complaining as they picked themselves up. I think I'll never get used to that thing. Wakaba said. Okay, I'm lost, Natsu said. Suddenly Lucy stood up with an irk mark. You took your sweet time firing that thing up. She was almost on top of us. Levi stood up and glared at her with equal anger. Shut up. And what exactly did you do to help us? Natsu slowly stood up as the two fought. Who was that monster earlier? He asked. Have you seriously forgotten? Mirajane asked. You must have hit your head when we landed. He's just an idiot. That was one of the captains of the royal cities, magic warfare units. Mirajane continued, ignoring the other guild members' comment. Urza Nightwalker. Natsu then remembered her. She had tried to kill him as he only dodged in confusion. One of the captains, huh? Man, I can't wait to face them. Naruto put his arm around Natsu's neck. This will be fun, right Natsu? Yeah, Natsu yelled, putting his fist forward. I'm all fired up now. Oh wait, I forgot. I'm going to have to take them down because you don't have any magic. Sorry Charmander. Natsu cried as depression lines fell across his face. Wait, so let me get this clear. You guys are from a different world called Earthland? And you came all the way here to save your friends? Yeah, Natsu said. And you're telling me that there is a fairy tale guild in your world too? And Urza is actually one of your allies there? You seem to be surprised, Carla said. Happy agreed. You would be too. That's a pretty tall tale, Warren said. Yeah, no kidding. It sounds crazy. That said, this is definitely not the Natsu we know. The Edelus members continued on with their talking as Naruto healed the injuries that were on Sasuke and Nami. What the hell hurt you guys? He asked, curiously. The damn pink guy, Urza Nightwalker, and her damned dragon kept barraging us with annoying attacks. They got us tired and eventually spotted an opening before attacking for real, Sasuke said, rubbing the area which was just recently healed. Dang it, the dude with the pink armor was cool. Now I have to kill him? This sucks. Don't praise your enemies. The hell, Nami? I was just saying, his armor looks badass. Suddenly everyone gasped. What the hell? What's going on? Naruto asked. Your king was the one who pulled us into this world and now we have to save them. Otherwise, they're going to be converted into magical energy. Wendy shook her head in distress. If that happens, they'll be gone forever. I know this is the last thing you want to hear, little me, Edelus, Wendy said. But I think it's best if you forget them. Naruto's fists tightened momentarily as Sasuke and Nami glared at the others. What the hell is wrong with you? Nami yelled as she ran up to them. Is this what you guys do? Abandon your comrades? Anyone who would defy the king is as good as dead. Nami's eyes were shadowed by her hair before she whispered something that struck pride into Earthland Fairy Tail's hearts. I would rather die with my comrades than run away from them and abandon them. Nami's eyes were shadowed by her hair before she whispered something that struck pride into Earthland Fairy Tail's hearts. I would rather die with my comrades than run away from them and abandon them. Nami ran out the door as the Edelus Guild watched her speechless. Okay Duchi bags. Great job, hope ya feel great. Naruto ran after Nami as did Sasuke a few moments later. Whatever you say to try and scare me into running away from the damn king isn't going to work, Natsu said. I'm not afraid and I ain't leavin' without my friends, I promise you that. By now, the Edelus Fairy Tail might as well have been knocked out. Lucy watched on with sympathetic eyes while Lee-Sena started to walk into a room before slamming the door. Naruto watched Natsu as he had a picnic with his students. Hey, Natsu, you do know that we still have our food open here for ya? If you wa, hell no. Natsu shouted as he jumped up and failed miserably at catching a tiny frog for food. After what you said, I'm never going to use your help. Naruto shrugged before taking a sandwich and blurring to him. He started to munch on it. So crunch. Tasty. Shut it, Natsu said, throwing a punch at Naruto who effortlessly caught it. Suddenly a huge frog-like animal rose from the sand as Natsu, Wendy, Happy, and Carla screamed. It's huge, Happy shrieked. The frog rose its hand as Happy yelled again. Natsu, I think it's about to attack us. No way, Natsu said, getting into a fighting position. Fire dragon. He then remembered that he couldn't use fire magic anymore. A few seconds later, the frog chased Natsu, Wendy, Happy, and Carla as Naruto's team watched on in amusement. Suddenly, a slash of blue magic appeared as the frog stumbled back and ran away. Edelus Lucy skidded back before him, feeing. Yay Scary Lucy. Thanks Scary Lucy. Quit adding scary to my name. It's rude. Suddenly Naruto flashed right next to her, a blush apparent on his cheeks as his eyes were glazed over. Hey Prite, he slurred. Let's go fo aparta. He twirled around before face planting on the ground. Zhu. Do it, he mumbled as Sasuke and Nami came running up. The dumbass wouldn't stop drinking. Nami muttered. Hey, I hiccup. Coup de fo only hiccup. Ho ma leaker. Naruto sported a large smile that seemed to blind everyone within 1,000 miles. He giggled. Just sit down, Lucy yelled. No matter facker. He ran out of the cafe that they were sitting on before sniffing, amazingly calm. He turned around and suddenly, armed figures surrounded him. You're a fairy tale wizard, aren't you? One of them said. You're coming with us. Naruto paused before suddenly. Dude, what the hell bruh? I just got here and you wanna fuck with me? Do you really want to fuck me? When did we say that? Suddenly their ranks were destroyed as they were sent flying. Dumbasses, need to learn when I'm distracting your ass. He screamed. Sasuke, Nami, Lucy, Wendy, Natsu, Carla, and Happy came running out before dragging Naruto along with them. Dumbasses need to learn. Naruto muttered. Will ya quit it? Lucy yelled. It was bad enough that you alerted nearly every magic guard in a 5-mile radius, but now you annoy us to death? What the hell is wrong with you? Many things, Scary Lucy. I said not to call me that. Suddenly, another voice identical to Edelus Lucy was heard. Hey, let go of me. Get over here. A man's voice was heard. You're Lucy, aren't you? Yeah, I'm Lucy. Now get your grubby hands off of me, you jerk. Natsu's and Edelus Lucy's eyes practically popped out of their sockets. Lucy? The other me? Cut it out. That hurts. Hold on, what is Lucy doing here? Happy asked. I have no idea, Carla said. Let go. We've got to save her. Natsu said before jumping out of his cover. Suddenly Lucy held up a key. Open, Gate of the Scorpion. Wait Lucy. Wendy called out. That won't help because our magic doesn't work here. Scorpio. Lucy finished. Suddenly a man in a strange red and white outfit with a metal tail came out. Wicked. He yelled as everyone except for the horribly messed up Naruto stared, shocked. Sandbuster. Scorpio yelled as a huge torrent of sand smashed against the soldiers, sending them flying. Magic? Natsu stared in shock. No way. Wendy yelled. Naruto slinked out of the fight before disappearing in a flash. He appeared at a strange cave with special writing, drawings, and marks that looked as if they were made thousands of years ago. Kurama, activate the seal. The fox appeared and quickly gathered chakra into his paw before slamming it into one of the marks, a round, circular seal. The grooves on the wall glowed as the seal seemed to come out of the wall. Suddenly, a large burst of chakra was felt as the pressure was instantly increased. Rocks and boulders started to fall as the air around them rippled. Then it stopped. So you are my reincarnation? Naruto turned around and stared at the man who had appeared behind him. He had brown, spiky hair and white bandages acting as a headband. Good evening, Ashura-sama. Yeah. Ashura waved his arm in dismissal. Ya don't need to call me that. Kurama's sweat dropped at the two shinobis' behavior towards titles. Anyway, this is my tomb, where I put the last of my chakra to create my being for a short while to discuss the plan. Naruto nodded. Acknowledgia has risen along with resurrected dragons. I am not sure where he had learned such a spell or jutsu, but I am certain that his goal is to destroy the world. Yes, the plan. Would you carry it out on the battlefield or before? On the battlefield, Naruto responded. The plan was a dangerous one, something that could cause him much sadness, but at the same time, save his friends. He would have to merge with the tailed beasts, making him immortal and hundreds of times more powerful than he was originally. This comes with a cost, just like most things do. The tailed beasts would have to die out. They were there for Naruto ever since the time when he left Konoha. They were his best friends. To use this technique, it was like killing them himself. Naruto had always dreaded using the technique, but now that Acknowledgia was back with Edo Tensei dragons, he might be forced to. Ashura sighed. I really don't want to do this either, Naruto, but you will have to, or else this world might as well be gone. And the jutsu that my father created. You know that you will have to use it, right? Naruto nodded sadly as Kurama looked on in curiosity. What jutsu? He asked. This jutsu will most likely break my heart, or rather, break it even more, Naruto said. See, this jutsu, it will. Kurama stared in silence and shock. Not only would it break his heart even more from the merging, but maybe even drive him insane. All of his friends, his family, they would be gone like the wind. He could never see them anymore. The friendships that he had forged, the bonds that he had created, would be no more. But there must be some way that you can get back to them, right? He asked. No, at least I don't think so, Ashura said. Suddenly, Naruto looked at him in curiosity and a bit of hope. So there might be a way to get back? He asked. Ahura shrugged. Hopefully, but knowing me, or you, we would probably never stop. Besides, he said, before grinning and putting a thumbs up. Believe it? Naruto stared at his hand before grinning in the same manner and putting a thumbs up as well. Believe it? Kurama snorted. You two are too much alike. I've heard enough of those phrases from both of you. You two need to shut up. Naruto and Ashura went to the corner as depression lines fell over their faces. But Kurama, Naruto sobbed. I thought you liked me. Not even close, brat. Why Kurama? Ashura sobbed. How could have you abandoned me? They both yelled as Kurama's sweat dropped at them. Drama queens, he muttered. They recovered and got back to business like nothing happened, much to Kurama's annoyance. One of my clones was patrolling the dragon's camp, if that's what you can call it, Naruto said. It was dispelled and I have the information. There are a max of 1239 dragons and a few more monster species that I have never seen before. One of them looks as if it was a sea serpent. The others called them the Sea Kings. Naruto quickly transferred the memory of the large serpent to Ashura. There was another, the Dracone. They have an entire army of them and they seem to be somewhat serpentine also. They act in a Greek fashion, much like the Spartans from Greece. He transferred the memories once again. Finally, the Hydra. It seems like a distant relative to the dragons and the Sea Kings. They have multiple heads and can spit out dangerous acids from their mouths. We will most likely have to gather up our forces from all of the elemental nations along with Fairy Tail and the Alliance guilds, Ashura said. Hopefully you can somehow convince the cage's stubborn asses. Naruto chuckled. Oh, don't worry. When I send my memories over to them, they will beg for an alliance. Ashura chuckled. But of course, you can always rely on Kurama if that doesn't work. They laughed as Kurama's sweat dropped. Again, like he does nearly half the time he was near the two. Author, why did you make him my friend? He asked despairingly. I laughed maniacally. To torture your dumbass. Muahahahahahah. Author, shut up, Naruto said. AWH, but Naruto, don't you love me? I asked with my puppy eyes. Not a bit, he said coldly. I fell down into the corner as depression lines fell across my face. You should probably get back and save Fairy Tail. My chakra is fading out and I'll be gone soon, Ashura said. They are strong. I believe in them. I'll just get my team and then get to the elemental villages, Naruto said. Ashura nodded before waving. See ya reincarnation. See ya, unreincarnation. This was most likely the 500th time that Kurama had sweat dropped. Naruto walked out of the portal with Sasuke and Nami trailing after him. He flashed with them to the Hokage's office as all the Anbu slumped over, unconscious as they attempted to attack Naruto. Oi, I need a meeting with all the other cages. Naruto yelled, slamming his palms on Minato's desk. Minato sighed. You know how hard this is? Just do it. Naruto growled. Fine, but I'll need something back, Minato said, grinning. I'm gonna need you to call me, Papa. Naruto stared at him before laughing. I think my ears are clogged up a bit. You wanna say that louder for me? I said, I'm gonna need you to call me, Papa. Naruto glared at him as Sasuke and Nami desperately tried to hold him back from killing Minato. I'm gonna kick you bitch ass so hard. Naruto growled. Ahem, Minato said, obviously enjoying the irritation and anger Naruto sent at him. I'm waiting. Arg. Fine, Papa. Huh? I don't think I heard you quite correctly. You see, my ears were a bit clogged up and… Minato laughed before nodding. Yeah, I got it. Just sit tight for a couple of days. Naruto stomped out of the tower. Stupid, he fumed. Well, at least he got the meeting, Nami said. Naruto continued grumbling and stomped over to the Hokage faces. Stupid, he slammed his ass down onto the head of his father's head and started to meditate while Nami and Sasuke started to train. Goku, you sense that? He thought. Yeah, the army is coming closer. You're gonna have to get the alliance quick before they reach Fury and the elemental nations, the tailed beast responded. Hey, don't worry big guy. Naruto thought. Besides, I am the awesome, MLG Naruto, right? Absolutely not. Naruto with his team walked into the room where the cages were sitting with their bodyguards. Mei will be here instead of Yagura because I will just make Yagura dead. Somehow. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me, Naruto said. I can assure you that this session will not be a waste of time. Then tell us why we are here. The Raikage of Kumo said, impatiently. Please calm down Raikage. This meeting is about the gathering of Acnologia, the king of the dragons, and more than 1,000 Edo Tensei dragons. They have also gathered armies of various monsters ranging from weapons that can kill gods, to acid that can burn through nearly anything, Naruto said. Snorted. Why should we help? Kumo would easily defeat the armies that you speak of. They can't come close to destroying us, he said arrogantly. I don't think you understand the magnitude of this situation, Naruto said, irritated. One dragon is enough to destroy a city, given the time it needs. Why should we help? Said, still unaware of the situation. These dragons will destroy the world. Naruto yelled. Your arrogance is clouding your judgment. Arose from his seat. Are you threatening me? He growled as he ignited his lighting cloak. Are you a fool? Naruto rose also as he directed an enormous amount of killing intent towards A. The building started to crack as the pressure rose to points where all the cage couldn't stand properly. Stared at Naruto fearfully as golden fire seemed to ignite around him before disappearing along with the ki and the pressure. Suddenly, with speed that only the yellow flash could match, Naruto appeared in front of A. If this isn't enough to convince you, then you really are a fool, he heard Naruto mumble before he blacked out. Asterisk in his mind, A was flying through darkness. Suddenly he stopped, much to his confusion. The darkness parted as light shone through. Suddenly a memory of some sort started to play for him, as if it was some kind of strange TV. Holy hell, he heard the person in the memory whisper. The voice sounded familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere, but he didn't know who it was. He looked closer and nearly gasped of fright. There, in front of him, was the largest, most fiercest beast that he had ever seen. He was midnight black in power, and authority seemed to ripple off of him as if that was the only thing he was made of. He started to say something in a strange language that he didn't recognize, but for some reason he knew what he said. In a few weeks, we shall travel to accursed Fury and the elemental villages, and we shall crush them under our claws. The massive dragon roared. None of them can stand a chance. They will never know a thing. Not even that cursed Kyuubi holder. Stared with wide eyes as the dragons and the monsters raised their heads and roared. He had thought that there were many of them, but now that they all made their presence known, he realized that the amount of the monsters were certainly something taken note of. Suddenly the scene changed and I saw some of the monsters. One of them was something serpent-like and was as large as some of the dragons he saw. Another was some kind of half-snake hybrid, and the final was a large monster with multiple heads. All in all, this army was the most deadly thing that he would ever face. The memories stopped and he returned to the real world, panting and sweating. The Alliance, he panted. We must make it. Why? May asked. Why did you change your answers so quickly? The visions, they will destroy the world. Seeing the wreckage of one of the strongest villages scared like this, created panic among the other cages. What did you do, Konoha brat? Onoki yelled. I showed him my memories of what I have found within the armies of Acnologia, Naruto responded calmly. Believe me, you would not want to see them. They stared at him in shock before I slammed his hand on his desk, breaking it. Kumo is in the Alliance. May sighed. You seem to be a very great, young man, but Kiri's resources and army is depleted after the civil war. We cannot do much, but we shall still join. Hopefully this will bring peace among ourselves. Naruto nodded and then looked at the representative of Suna, Baki, a skilled jonin, and the cage of Iwa, Onoki. Well, old man? He gestured at the cage who had grown an irk mark. Stupid brats, they need to show more respect, he muttered before giving his final answer. I choose to join. Hopefully this army that you are speaking of is not some useless prank that you created. Naruto nodded his thanks. I assure you that this is no joke, he said before turning to Baki. Now for Suna's choice. Will you join among our ranks or not? Baki sighed. Look, Namikaze, the only reason I will ever do this is because my students will kill me if I don't, because your students saved their brother. Hopefully Suna will also be able to trade and gather more resources after this war is over. I say yes. Naruto bowed. Thank you for your time. We shall start our first meeting between Konoha, Kumo, Iwa, Kiri, Suna, and the allying magic guilds at the town of Magnolia tomorrow. Ask any town member if there is a man named Fire Shadow and they will guide you and your guards to me. With that, he disappeared in a flash along with his students. The cages were silent. Well then, May managed out. Doesn't he seem like a nice man? One day later, the three cages, the Jonin, and their guards walked into the entrance of Magnolia. Wow, Baki said in shock. The houses and buildings were moved, much like the entrance of Gildarts. Suddenly a boy with dark, navy blue hair walked up to them. Fire Shadow Sama said that 4 people will be looking for him. Are you those people? Stepped up and nodded. Yes, we are. Lead us to him, he commanded. The boy nodded before running along the path with the rest, not far behind him. They stopped at a large building with the words, Fairy Tale, on the banner. So this is his guild? Onoki asked. The boy turned around to face them. Yes. He is expecting you with the Hokage and the leaders of his guild along with the members and the other guilds. They walked in and gasped at the amount of people in the guild room, partying and fooling around. All those people in that one place? May asked. I wonder if I could find some. In my day, people did not invite such important people to such a crowded place, Ao commented, interrupting May. They used to dress up in a dignified manner, not dress up poorly. They also used to propose to each other for dances and... He immediately stopped once he noticed May's murderous glare that was sent towards him. Ah, the guests are here. They looked up and saw Naruto standing on the balcony. All the mages in the room stared at the shinobi who had just walked in. Welcome. Go ahead and party a little before we go and discuss the plans. Naruto disappeared and reappeared next to Minato, creating a little WTF look by the cages, as they forgot how much Naruto looked like the 4th Hokage. They slowly started off in opposite directions to go and party with the others. In reality they were actually only trying to find information about the famous fairy tale. Naruto, on the other hand, was partying as if there was no tomorrow. The only problem was that most people didn't understand Orange. Not that it mattered to him. If they didn't understand the awesomeness of Orange, that was their problem. Their very messed up problem that needed to get fixed by a doctor. Like now. The guild leaders along with the shinobi guests and Naruto stepped into the newly made meeting room right underneath Fairy Tail. Good, let us start, Naruto said. He channeled chakra into the palm of his hand before carefully placing it on a seal on the tables. Soon, a holographic map of Fury and the elemental villages was shown. Acnologia will most likely strike somewhere in Fury and then go to the elemental villages to destroy us. What he doesn't know is that we are already prepared for him. We will lead him to Tenryujima Island where the battle will start. Any suggestions on how to lead him there? Ichiya raised his hand. With my super smelly perfume, I can create a unique path which could take him to the island. Naruto nodded before looking around. If that doesn't work, I will use shadow clones to lead him. Any other suggestions? Maybe we can set something up, something that will set off a lot of chakra, or in their case, magic. Mei looked at the guild members that sat on the chairs. Well, Makarov stood, because, well, you know, he's a midget. Yes, me and the strongest people here should probably carry out our strongest jutsus and spells to create enough chakra and magical energy so that he would most likely sense it and come towards us. Or we can just use Ichiya's stupid perfume, Naruto said. The Iwa shinobi should also create solid ground so it would be easier for us to hit him at different angles, and at the same time, make it harder for them to hit us. The map zoomed in on Tenryujima Island, except this time, there was stone instead of the water that was usually there. Millions of shinobi and mages stood in a circle with Acnologia in the middle. 1,000 dragons were in the air and ground along with the other monsters. Acnologia will most likely stand in the middle, thinking that no one can damage him, but that's where he is wrong again. Most of the mages and shinobi will concentrate on distracting him along with the rest of the dragons and monsters. Another small force, comprising of a S-rank shinobi and S-rank mages, will concentrate on doing an offensive collaboration jutsu spell. They continued creating plans until night and started to create the battlefield, for that is where the final battle shall start. Naruto waited underground with nearly 200,000 AS-rank shinobi and mages. Apparently, they didn't need to bait Acnologia here. Someone already caught his attention, and Naruto knew who it was. Flashback. Naruto jumped onto a branch as he followed the strange man with black hair who seemed given aura of evilness. Or maybe it was that he could not control his power. I know you were there. Zeref turned around and stared at the blonde shinobi with a glint of red in his eyes. He launched himself at Naruto but was immediately stopped as 9 golden chakra arms restrained him. I saw you when you woke up. Why the hell did you say, Acnologia? Did you summon him? Hee, Zeref laughed. You puny mortals will never know a thing. This world will. Slam. Zeref was sent flying and smashed into a boulder, breaking it into thousands of pieces. This world will what? Naruto growled as he slowly walked over to the groaning Zeref. Die? Be destroyed? Whatever you will do, I'll be there to stop you. And if I'm not, then Fairy Tail will. Zeref's eyes widened a little as the red glint disappeared. Natsu. He breathed before disappearing. Bitch. Naruto screamed. I wasn't done kicking your dumbass. Naruto walked around as his clones scouted the area. So far, none of them has found the Dark Wizard, and they looked everywhere, at least that was what he thought. Flashback end. He had told the cages about Zeref. Now all they needed to do was wait for him and his army. Yo, Naruto. It's been a long time. Naruto turned around and looked at the man before grinning and hugging him. Hey Laxus. I can't believe that you would actually join this alliance thing. Why not? Can't I have a little fun? The two let go of each other and stared at the massive army that stood next to them. So you're the commander or something? Laxus asked. Yup, and you're gonna have to follow each and every one of my commands, private. Shut it. Suddenly a large roar was heard as rocks fell from above. Jutsus and spells were heard as screams of pain came from the distraction force above. Naruto looked up as others started to step back, in fear and awe of the large beast that was right above them. The only thing separating them was the thin layer of rock. Okay, let's charge the collaboration up. Naruto yelled. There was no response, only silence. Naruto turned around confused. What the hell is going on? A shinobi stepped up, his hands trembling. Sir. I'm not sure if we can do this. T the dragon, Naruto grabbed his shirt, pulling him aggressively. Are you an idiot? He growled. Our forces up there are sacrificing their lives and you're sitting here like a coward? You're a shinobi, a soldier trained from 6. You're one of the finest here and yet, you act as if you're a mere genin. He threw him onto the ground. Let the world witness your cowardice. If you can't do it, then I will. He turned to the rest of the shinobi and mages. You may be fearing the beast above, but your friends, your family are throwing their lives away to save this world from its destruction. What has your village and your guild taught you? What does your friends and family mean to you? I know that, I can't make a speech like most can, but I still have the courage to stand up to evil and fight for the next generation. If you have the courage to stand with me, come and let us win this war for the sake of our predecessors. The room was silent. Suddenly one started to walk up to him and faced the others. Then another. Soon, everyone walked up to the blonde and stood beside him, the fire of will and courage burning in their eyes. All right, let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Naruto counted down as golden chakra enveloped his body. The shinobi and the mages started to charge up the collaboration. Biju Bomb, Lighting Dragon Roar, Rasen Shuriken. This was Nami and Sasuke if you didn't know. The army of shinobi and mages unleashed their jutsus and spells. The mass of chakra and magical energy combined into one huge beam and flew towards the ceiling. It cracked and slammed into Agnologia. Charge! Naruto roared as the deadly soldiers jumped up into the night sky and descended upon the dragons. Neji was part of the distraction group. Whatever this Naruto guy was planning better be good, because right now, his comrades are turning into ash. He gritted his teeth and clenched his hands. Agnologia is going to pay. Suddenly a large rumbling sound was heard, and the pressure was immediately apparent. The air started to ripple and suddenly, a brilliant beam of energy erupted from the ground, vaporizing any monster or dragon that got close. It slammed into Agnologia as the dragon roared in agony. Charge! Neji stared in awe as an army of shinobi and mages came out of the hole that had appeared from the ground and jumped up in the air towards the dragon, with a golden figure leading them. The golden figure jumped into the air and floated while he concentrated black chakra into a condensed ball. Through his Byakugan, he could easily tell that the jutsu he about to unleash was godly. There was so much chakra and it was so concentrated, that anyone else who would have attempted to make it, would be blown away, even killed. Biju Bomb. The golden figure roared and the ball was shot out of his hands with incredible speed. For a second, Neji almost saw a golden fox. An angel in a demon's form. Naruto watched as the condensed ball slammed into Agnologia, causing him more pain. He turned to the distraction group who was just staring at him and the S ranks in awe. Hurry your asses up, he roared and they immediately charge. Unfortunately, the dragons and the army of monsters weren't making it easy for them. Sure, the shinobi and mages were powerful and had much more in numbers than the dragons and monsters, but still. Some of them were more dangerous, deadly to the point where even some were as strong as Chome. If they stalled the alliance until Agnologia was healed, then this might have been for nothing. He quickly bit his finger and swiped the blood across all of his keys. 9 huge-tailed beasts appeared and started to attack the dragons as Naruto's golden chakra disappeared. At first, the rest of his comrades seemed scared and reluctant to go close to them, but after they realized that they were on their side, they fought along with them, gladly. Naruto quickly released a meditating Sage Mode clone and went into Sage Mode. He jumped towards an oncoming dragon with amazing speed. Sure, it wasn't as fast as Tailed Beast Mode level 2, but it was still fast. He missed his chakra-enhanced Kunai Slash, but Sage Mode didn't. Soon, the dragon had a large gash across his side and was roaring in agony as a few shinobi jumped onto him and finished him off. Naruto wasted no more time as he quickly created a spinning, blue chakra shuriken on his hand. Wind style. Rasen Shuriken. He yelled and threw the deadly shuriken. It sliced through a few weak dragons and stopped at a hydra before expanding and completely vaporizing it along with a few other unlucky ones that were near it. He quickly ran through some hand signs before thousands of black lightning bolts ran through the battlefield, killing more of the enemies. Tailed Beast Style. Kuro Raitengu. He quickly ran through more hand signs as he concentrated chakra to his mouth. Wind style. Angels of Death. An army of 50 wind angels flew out of his mouth and charged towards the dragons. By now, his sage mode had disappeared and Naruto panted from fatigue and exhaustion. He quickly turned around, making a Rasengan and slamming it into the stomach of Drakene. He then jumped up and spun in the air, throwing shuriken and kunai in different directions, each one enhanced by different chakra elements. He fell down and bit his thumb before slammed his hand onto the ground. Summoning Jutsu. A large puff of smoke appeared as Gamabunta along with a couple of other large toads charged at the dragons. He grinned as fatigue made him drop onto the ground. "Hey! Leave M to you, boss," he said as he sat in a meditating position, planning to gather more nature chakra to continue his fight. Shikamaru groaned in annoyance. These dragons won't stop coming at him. He nearly told Guy and Lee to use their secret, special sunset genjutsu, but of course, that was only for emergencies. Shadow possession jutsu. He mumbled as he caught another dragon for the mages nearby him to finish it off. Suddenly, the shadow wavered and the dragon immediately started to move, swatting the mages like flies. Shikamaru sighed as he took a kunai out. Great, now that his chakra was running low, he had to rely on his taijutsu, something he was horrible at. The dragon jumped up and started to run towards him as his eyes widened in terror. Only now did he realize the immense size of the dangerous beast. Wind style. Rasen Shuriken. A huge chakra shuriken cut straight through the dragon and returned to the user's hand who, Shikamaru noticed immediately. Sasuke? Shikamaru stared at the panting genin in front of him with the large mass of chakra in his hands. Don't worry Shikamaru, I'll take it from here. Sasuke looked at him and shot him a grin, catching Shikamaru completely off guard. He then jumped up in the air and threw the shuriken, decapitating a couple of more dragons before exploding in a bright burst of chakra, destroying anything near it. Shikamaru stared in awe at the Uchiha. It was clear that he was thousands of years ahead of the rest of the genin. At least that was what he thought until Nami ran past him, launching the same jutsu at the dragons. Shikamaru stared at the two shinobi who had trained under one of the most dangerous shinobi. They seemed to be in sync, throwing kunai, creating insane jutsus out of nowhere and then protecting each other. It seemed as if they were completely different people from the two pricks that were in Konoha before. Nearby, the cages were flashing in and out, weaving through the dragons, killing them quickly as Tsunade, one of the legendary Sannin, healed the wounded along with her summons. Suddenly Lee flipped over him and faced him. Get up, Shikamaru. We must match Nami and Sasuke's youth with ours. Shikamaru sighed and slowly got up, before dusting himself off. What a drag, he mumbled as he attached string and exploding tags to his kunai. Hopefully, this war would end soon so he could go back to laying down and staring at the clouds with Choji. Kakashi slammed his lightning-infused hand into one of the dragon's head as it roared in agony. Nearby, Guy was ever so, youthfully, slamming his fists and legs onto the dragons. Kakashi could tell that this was not going so good. Every dragon that they killed, another one took its place and then killed more than 20 to 40 shinobi at a time. And that wasn't even their strongest dragons. The stronger ones can destroy a few squads of S-rank shinobi at once. This war wasn't going in their favor. He jumped off the dead dragon just as another one smashed into it. He threw some kunai attached to some explosive tags, but they bounced off the scales of the beast. Why don't you be a good boy and die for me already? Kakashi asked nicely as the dragon roared and started to fly towards him. He sighed. Too bad you can't understand me. Water style. Water dragon. The dragons clashed, the water dragon easily losing. Guy, I need some help here. This one is one of the strong ones. Guy turned around, already in the 7th gate and launched himself at the dragon, sending out powerful attacks that sent it roaring in pain. While Guy took care of the dragon, Kakashi aimed for the smaller and weaker ones. Even though they were weaker, there were still more than that one stronger dragon. Suddenly a roar pierced the air as everyone stopped what they were doing. Kakashi looked in shock as the huge, midnight beast rose from his position. Acnologia was healed and he was ready to unleash his wrath on the Alliance. Acnologia never felt so much anger before. That Kyuubi holder. He will pay. He roared, shooting a beam of energy across the land, vaporizing anything that was too close. He watched as the puny fools around him tried killing him. Such idiots. Couldn't they tell that nothing could kill him? All of a sudden, his body was racked with pain as a huge black ball slammed into him. He flew back and slammed onto the cold ground before staring hatefully at who had done it. The culprits? Only the most detested things in his opinion, the tailed beasts. They stood side by side as they created another one of those accursed Biju bombs. This time, they would not hit him. This time, they would be the ones who will be hit. He quickly charged up magic into his mouth, ignoring the mortal fools trying to hurt him, and shot out bullets of magic. They flew and hit some of the tailed beasts, but seemed to have nearly no effect. Shukaku had his ultimate defense. Matabi dodged it. Isobu just tanked it. Goku. Well, you get the point. None of them were affected by the magic. Acnologia roared in irritation and started to fly towards the beasts, shooting beams of magical energy towards the tailed animals. The chakra bomb that they were charging exploded as they each ran in different directions to dodge the magic. Suddenly a huge sand wave came hurtling towards him. He quickly rose up, dodging the wave by inches. A red beam of energy, much like his, came flying towards him and hit Acnologia in the already burned torso. He roared again, this time in pain as he flew towards the tailed fox. They started to exchange blows, the world shaking from each hit and each blow. Finally, Acnologia raked his claws on Kurama, sending the fox flying. He flew up just as Matabi came towards him, slashing him with chakra claws. He quickly shot out a beam, larger than before, but Isobu had to tank it. Again, this was horribly annoying for the King of Dragons. All he wanted was to kill these stupid beasts, but they wouldn't stay still. Multi-Odama Rasengan. Pain racked his body as multiple balls of chakra hit his body. He was sent flying and slammed onto the ground. He quickly stood up and whipped his head around and zeroed in on the person who had created such pain for the dragon. He stood unmoving as fear surprisingly pricked its way to his throat. The only one who will ever be able to beat him was standing right in front of him, and he didn't look happy. Naruto stared at the large dragon, his arms crossed. Naruto. The tailed beasts yelled happily, along with the shinobi and mages near the blonde ninja. Every shinobi and mage stay out of this fight. Take care of the other dragons and leave Acnologia to me. He shouted, his voice carrying out to the end of the battlefield. Now then, Acnologia, he grinned. Shall we get started? Naruto's blonde locks swayed in the wind as he stared at the black dragon who had started this war. Suddenly, he launched himself at the dragon with surprising speeds and punched the black dragon, sending him flying. The dragon roared as he regained his footing, but something was up and Naruto knew it. Acnologia would be putting up more of a better fight by now. Why isn't he? Was his magic drained? What's happening? Naruto thought in confusion. He quickly got into a taijutsu stance as Acnologia flew towards him, planning on killing him with his teeth. Sadly, he did not know much about senjutsu, as Naruto smashed his teeth before kicking him with so much force, it sent Acnologia skyrocketing. He watched as the dragon slowly fell to the ground with a large thud, as the other dragons watched on speechless. The alliance cheered but Naruto frowned. Kurama. What's wrong with Acnologia? Suddenly a scream pierced the air from one of the female mages as Naruto turned around. A katana was aimed for his heart and there was nothing he could do to stop its direction. He was too slow. Blood splattered the floor. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. The soldiers near him yelled in fear. There in front of him was his father taking the blade for him. Naruto, Minato whispered before the blade was pulled out of his chest, dropping him to the floor. Naruto fell to his knees, his pupils dilating in fear that his father would die or is already dead. No, he whispered. Why would you do this for me? There was no response, because his father was already dead. The only noise was the wind and the chuckling of the one who had killed him. Hee. Too bad the fool took the blade for you, the man chuckled. Oh well, at least it was one of the strong ones I killed. The alliance was quiet. No one dared to move. Naruto looked up and glared at the killer. He had a strange mask that was white with a Sharingan eye and a Rinnegan eye. He had a war fan on his back and the power that was radiating off him could compare to even Naruto's. Why you fucker? Naruto spat out. Why would you do this? Hee. Your foolish mind could never comprehend why I did the action I did. You have no idea how much pain he had caused me. He never saved me. He left me to die. Below the rocks, not even my teammates would save me. Are you insane? Naruto yelled. Maybe it was because they didn't want to hear your insane voice. Suddenly the man was still. Then he started to giggle. The giggle turned into laughter. It died down as the man calmed himself down. Maybe I am insane, but at least I know that this world is wrong. It's cruel. That's why I want you to join me. Join me on my quest and I will help you create a new one. Naruto was silent. Suddenly bitter chuckling rang out from his mouth. You really expect me to join you? After what you've done? He stopped, his hair shadowing his face. After what you've done, you expect me to join you? You killed my father, my comrades, started a war, and now you're asking me to join you? You're sick. Golden chakra started to envelope him, but this time it was different. The tailed beasts weren't needed for this stage, as it was his ultimate form. Ashura's Senjutsu mode. The ground beneath him cracked as the pressure increased to extents where even the S ranks had trouble breathing. The masked man chuckled and shrugged his shoulders. Oh well, I didn't need you anyways. I was going to kill you right as you turned on your friends. Zetsu. Start the battle. Suddenly thousands upon thousands of white men rose from ground as Naruto recognized them to be Zetsu from the Akatsuki. Unfortunately, he didn't kill him, but this just made him more eager to kill him along with the masked man. He roared a feral roar before disappearing as white Zetsus were sent flying from what seemed like an invisible force. Soon, the alliance was attacking as well, engaging in taijutsu battles and ninjutsu fights that seemed to cause casualties on both sides. Well, not really on Zetsus because his were just clones, but still. The masked man waited as if he had all the time in the world as Naruto barreled through the Zetsus, finally reaching him as the masked man tapped his foot impatiently. Naruto reared back his fist, aiming for a punch, but was surprised when it went right through the man's body. Naruto jumped back. What the hell? You can't touch me, but I can touch you. Let's see how long you last. With a crazed laugh, the masked man launched himself at Naruto, who dodged his strikes. Naruto quickly jumped back before disappearing, much to the glee of the maniacal masked man. You can't hide, Naruto, he yelled gleefully, before smashing the ground below him. Naruto jumped out, quickly spinning in the air and tried to kick the masked man who just let the leg go right through him. But something was wrong. The second the leg went through him, the masked man grabbed Naruto's leg and threw him across the field. Naruto's eyes narrowed in suspicion as to why the masked man didn't just throw him while Naruto was attacking him. You know, that Acknowledge fool really took my words in like they were real. Too bad he never knew I was taking his energy. The masked man yelled maniacally before throwing himself at a narrow-eyed Naruto. So this is how you became like this? Naruto asked, dodging each one of the masked man's strikes. He winced as one hit him and he jumped back to prevent any more strikes. So you finally figured out, huh? Good job. Do you want a cookie now? He laughed as Naruto gritted his teeth. Guys, get in. I'm going to go full out. The tailed beasts disappeared as they went into the seal in Naruto, giving him all their powers. Naruto quickly formed hand signs before some kind of strange mist flew out of his mouth. Tailed beast style. Gas of death. The masked man just waited impatiently as the fog slowly went towards him. Well, is that all you've got? I thought that the great fire shadow would be. He immediately stopped as he clutched his throat before jumping out of the gas. He started to cough fiercely. Cough. What is this? Suddenly a golden fist appeared and slammed into the face of the masked man, throwing him across the battlefield where he laid on the ground. Just because you can't be touched, doesn't mean that you don't breathe, Naruto smirked. See, curse you. The masked man rasped as the mask cracked. Then it fell. Naruto stared in surprise at the face that stared at him with complete hate. Obito? The scarred face stared at him with hate. Obito is dead. I was reborn. Obito is gone, he has changed. I am Madara Uchiha, he screamed. Naruto disappeared as Obito's face contracted in fear. There behind him, was Naruto with a kunai at Obito's neck. There wasn't a flicker of mercy in his eyes. Goodbye, Obito. Slash. Blood flowed from Obito's slashed neck as he fell to the floor, gurgling. Naruto stared at his body as Obito slowly died before walking away, killing any Zetsu clone that dared to come close to him. Suddenly a roar of anger came from Obito's body as Naruto looked back at him with wide eyes. There in front of him was Obito, except he was different. A strange glowing aura surrounded him as the wound on his neck slowly healed. Obito suddenly flew at Naruto and grabbed him by his neck. Die! He yelled in rage as he tightened his grip on Naruto's throat. Naruto grabbed his arm with the help of a few chakra arms, but to no avail. Obito didn't loosen his grip for a single second. Finally, Obito lost his grip once Naruto created a Rasengan and attempted to hit the scarred man with it. Obito jumped away to dodge the dangerous ball of chakra and spat out in disgust. You Uzumakis disgust me. Shut up! Naruto roared as he launched himself at Obito. Shinra Tensei! Obito yelled as an invisible force threw Naruto away. Bansho Tenon! Naruto flew at Obito as chakra arms flew out to try and stop the gravitational pull, but not even they could stop it. Obito materialized a sharpened chakra rod on his hand and stabbed Naruto with it in the stomach. Naruto spat out blood before being thrown away by Obito's Rinnegan. You're nothing compared to me. I'll let you live long enough to see your friend's destruction though, Obito laughed. Naruto gritted his teeth. Damn it, he shouted as he threw himself at the dojutsu wielder who merely threw him around as if he was a toy. Rasen Shuriken. Naruto watched in surprise as a shuriken of blue chakra blew up in Obito's face. Suddenly Sasuke jumped right next to him, but Naruto could sense something different about him. Then Naruto's eyes widened. There, on his palm, was the night tattoo, the yin symbol. A few moments earlier, Sasuke stared at the old sage that floated before him. So you're Indra's reincarnation, huh? Good thing Naruto saved you before anything bad happened, he mused. Who are you? Sasuke asked the old man, his eyes narrowing. I'm the sage of Six Paths, young one, and you are my son's reincarnation. Sasuke's eyes widened. Then that means I am Indra's? The old sage nodded. Yes, you are. I am sure you know the rest of the details, as Naruto must have explained them to you. Sasuke nodded, but suddenly the sage moved towards him with speeds that even he could not see. His eyes widened in surprise as two fingers poked his forehead. Go and help Naruto with the powers that I have given you, the sage said. Use them wisely. Flashback end. Sasuke helped Naruto up as he saw questions about to burst from Naruto's mouth. I am Indra's reincarnation, Sasuke said, stopping anything about to come out of Naruto's mouth. I'll answer the questions later. Right now we have to beat this fool. Naruto closed his mouth and nodded, determination in his eyes. Let's do this. Sasuke immediately created a Susanoo and opened his Sharingan eye. Obito laughed crazily. Come at me, I want to see what you have against me. Sasuke teleported next to Obito as Naruto used speed and the three engaged in a fierce taijutsu battle. Ha, is that all you have? Let's make this a bit more fun then. The madman threw his hand down as huge meteors started to come raining down. Sasuke jumped up along with Naruto and started to quickly destroy the rocks, to protect the alliance, but because their attention was on the meteors, they didn't notice Obito creating more hand signs. Wood Seidel. Ultimate Death. Suddenly a massive wooden statue came out from the ground. Its head had a fierce and unsettling look that made most want to run away just by looking at it. The statue moved as if it had a mind of its own, its hands forming seals slowly as it calmly watched the alliance fight against the Zetsus and the meteors. It slowly opened its massive mouth as it finished the seals and suddenly, thousands upon thousands of wooden spikes came raining out from the opened hole. Sasuke had used up much of his chakra, teleporting and destroying the millions of meteors that rained down. Sasuke looked around, finally seeing the huge statue. His eyes widened as one was sent towards him. He gathered up chakra but found he couldn't teleport anymore. He winced and fell to his knees. Suddenly a ripping sound was heard. Blood splattered on the ground. Sasuke stared in shock. There, in front of him, was Nami. The one that he was with all the time. His friend that always trained with him and brought him with her to eat ramen. She fell to her knees as blood flowed from her mouth. Hey, she whispered, cupping his face with her hand. Don't be sad. Nami, Sasuke whispered in shock. Why wool? He was cut off as the girl instantly closed the space between their faces, stopping him from saying any more. She pulled back and smiled one last time. Be strong. Nami Namikaze was dead and Sasuke couldn't do a thing. He stared at her, his pupils dilated. Naruto immediately landed next to him, as he finished off the meteors. He stared at her in shock as well, giving no notice to the wooden spikes that were piercing his comrades nearby. Nami, Naruto whispered in shock. His father was dead, and now his sister. He couldn't save any of his friends, his family. "I'll kill you," he roared, anger fueling him. "Start the merging, Kurama." But Naruto, the Konskins. "Just do it." Kurama along with the rest of the Biju started the process immediately. Suddenly Naruto's body felt like it was on fire, his chakra coils being overloaded with chakra. Suddenly he found himself in a sewer-like place, the tailed beasts all around him. "Goodbye Naruto," the Biju all said, sadly. "Gee guys," Naruto whispered. Tears started to overflow as sadness racked his body. "I'm sorry I had to put you through this." "It's okay," Isobu said. "We would gladly die for you." The other tailed beasts nodded as tears flowed freely from Naruto's eyes. "Let's have one last fist bump," Yuki said, extending his hand along with the rest of beasts. Naruto wiped away his tears and smiled, bumping each of their fists before they faded. "Goodbye Naruto." The floor cracked as boulders and pebbles that were near him rose in the air. Naruto opened his eyes as 9 tails erupted from his backside, each one representing the 9 Biju. "Oh?" Obito said, his eyebrow raised. "Seems like you will be more fun now." He launched himself to Naruto, who immediately got into a fighting position. Obito didn't even bother to use his transparency jutsu anymore as they both fought. He was having the time of his life. Naruto on the other hand, was irritated, sad, and angry. Even with the merging, even with the cost of his friends' lives, he still couldn't beat him. The most he could do, was be on par with him. Sasuke was nearly out of chakra and the most he could do was create a few more Rasengans, which wasn't going to help in this case. Of course he and Sasuke could always do the jutsu, but that was only for a last resort. Naruto just had to hope that he could outlast Obito. Sadly this wasn't going to work because both were stamina along with chakra powerhouses. Rasen Shuriken, Wood Absorption, Tailed Beast Style, Acid Mist, Wood Style, Branch Wall. The two fearsome shinobi threw ninjutsu after ninjutsu at each other, none of them paying attention to the destruction and carnage that they were creating. By now, the Zetsus along with the Alliance and what was left of the dragons, stayed at least 1,000 feet away from the two. They knew that they would get 360 no-scoped by the two shinobi. Naruto quickly jumped back from the spikes that Obito had just recently created and suddenly flashed to the dojutsu wielder, planning to use a Biju-enhanced Rasen Shuriken to kill him. Unfortunately for him, this did not work out as well as he thought it would, as Obito just sucked it up, using his stupid Rinnegan powers again. He quickly activated his battle avatar, this is actually what it's called, no matter how gay you think it is, which was a huge golden fox, and charged a Bijudama before shooting it at Obito, who absorbed it again. Naruto quickly ran towards him and started to attack with his avatar, destroying the ground with his chakra fists. Obito jumped away, irritating the frustrated blonde. He closed the avatar off and quickly created 6 Biju Rasen Shurikens around him before throwing them at Obito. Obito didn't even bother absorbing them, because he knew that it would take too long for the amount of chakra to be sucked in, so he just used Kamui on them, sending them to another dimension. This obviously angered Naruto even more and they started to fight in an intense taijutsu battle that sent shockwaves with each hit that they landed. Naruto quickly flipped away as Sasuke sent a wave of Amaterasu towards Obito, who teleported away. Haha, Obito laughed with glee. Now that little Sasuke joined, I could go full out. Wings sprouted from his back and black and blue patterns appeared on his skin. This is Acnologia's power. Naruto said in shock. Yes it is. You're lucky. You know why? Because you're the first one to die from it. Naruto barely dodged the swipe of magic and chakra-enhanced claws that sprouted from Obito's fingers. Sasuke teleported next to him but was more than surprised when he found Obito right behind him. He quickly attempted to back-kick him, but Obito grabbed his leg and threw him at Naruto, who caught him, grunting from the force of the throw. Sasuke, Naruto said, setting his friend down. We are going to have to use that jutsu. I'll be the one to harbor all the power. No, Sasuke interrupted. I'll use the power. You need to go on. What about your friends? What about your guild? Everyone that I love is gone. Sasuke. No one is gone. They are still watching you, in the sky. In your heart, Naruto said. I'll be the one. Please Sasuke. Sasuke looked as if he was about to break down. Fine, but at least promise me this. Come back in one piece. Naruto grinned. I will. He turned away to conceal the sad expression on his face and the tears that were threatening to spill out of his eyes. Start it. Sasuke put his palms on Naruto's back before concentrating immensely. 6 paths. Yin-yang transfer. The air rippled around them as the pebbles and rocks flew around them, creating a miniature tornado. The night symbol disappeared from Sasuke's hand along with his Sharingan and Sharingan. He slumped to the ground, exhausted from the power he had just transferred. Naruto, please, survive. Naruto watched sadly as Sasuke slumped to the floor, unconscious. He closed his eyes before slowly opening them, revealing his Mangekyo Sharingan and his Sharingan. Golden chakra surrounded him and cracked the ground beneath him. Oh, so little Foxy has a new toy? We can play together now. Obito flew at Naruto with speeds that only the most skilled can follow, but Naruto seemed to have disappeared. What the? Obito was punched in the stomach and was sent flying. He smashed into some trees, finally stopping at a crater. Suddenly, Naruto was right in front of him. 6 paths. Ultimate elemental destruction. Suddenly, Obito was flung up into the air as fire and magma appeared around him. Water cracked from the ground and rose up as boulders flew up. Wood grew from the ground and lightning started to flicker from the sky. Wind flew around the elements as Obito stared in terror, as he found he could not move. What is this? It is your destruction, Naruto said calmly before clenching his hands in front of him. The fire and magma engulfed him before boulders started to smash into it, creating a moon-like shape. Then wood surrounded it, creating a dome of chakra wood, as water surrounded it as well. Finally the wind took shape of a multiple sharp wind blades before. It sliced the element moon into millions of pieces. Naruto slowly formed some hand seals. 6 paths. Heaven's containment. Soon, the clouds above parted as everyone watching stared in amazement. An glowing angel floated down before raising its hand. All the pieces flew to it before being brutally crushed by the angel's hand. The angel disappeared, leaving Naruto in the middle of where it once was. Urza watched as the angel crushed the remaining pieces of Obito before it disappeared, leaving Naruto on the ground. Naruto, she yelled, pushing people out of her way, despite being exhausted of most of her magic. Naruto? She ran up to him, the alliance watching quietly, fearful of what had happened to the shinobi. Urza quickly checked to see if his heart was beating. Hers nearly stopped because of the results. Naruto? She whispered. Please wake up, please. Naruto didn't wake up and yell, it's just a prank. Like he would if he was okay. He didn't wake up and try to comfort the distressed redhead. Instead, he just laid there, dead. I didn't even get to tell you. But true feelings, tears fell from her eyes as the rest of the alliance stared with sad eyes, knowing that their hero was dead. Slowly, an orange leaf with writing fluttered down and landed on her hand. Urza wiped away her tears and her eyes widened before she broke down even more. I love you, Urza. 80 years later. It's the year 2015 and people all over the world forgot about the Great War. Shinobi were gone. Mages disappeared. But there was one exception. A blonde teenager laying on an orange tree slowly opened his eyes. They were startling, sky blue. THSTA all for now. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments.